the right string of questions.
I do.
He actually has it as a...
Yes, I do. I have a skill.
And I said it was canon, which means I have to give it to you, which is very unfortunate. Welcome back. Episode 6, One Giant Leap. Ian, crew, ready for this. It's going to be very fun. We're going to jump right into it, and I'm very excited. Sound good? So last we left it, Arnold had miraculously piloted the Kaizen through Mars's atmosphere amid the destruction of a massive space thumb.
What a performance.
Landed the ship, even though it was running off of life support juice, basically. The ship landed. Dr. Gallagher, Saoirse, performed a very touching ceremony for Anjali. The crew chose their new skills to upgrade. And we are going to continue in the safe harbor at the chapel in the desert, the Martian desert. Sound good to everybody? All right. So, who would like to go first in their safe harbor activity? All right, Saoirse, rock and roll.
I will be aiding everybody's roles. That's my action.
All right, do it. That's fair.
Yeah.
Also.
I am going to kind of break up my time half and half and do creation of Pig 2.0, aka
Piglet.
As what Pig was supposed to be originally, which was just kind of like a scout and a surgical nurse for me, not holding the entire neural network inside of his tiny little pig body. So Piglet will be more of like an assistant.
I filtered it.
Yeah.
Through your brain.
Big brain.
No drawbacks whatsoever.
Piglet will be a little less
That will
smart
be
than
useful
Pig.
later. Was that Mickey Mouse thing? This will come in use later.
Oh yeah.
It's a surprise tool that will help us later. I got the meme right. Sorry.
And then, so in between building Piglet, I also am going to be comparing the anatomy that I was able to research on our captain with 13. So when I was helping the captain kind of figure out his own anatomical background, I'm going to use that information to see if I can't figure out how to help 13 stay alive, or maybe not be in a coma, or just not die.
That would be ideal.
Ideal.
Theory.
Or a horrific monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which.
That
All
nails to the brain.
could be options.
All right. So let's do Piglet first. How are you? What are you rolling to craft?
So I have a science skill with a talent in device building.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Technically, it's craft.
Okay, I have craft also.
I would roll for craft, and I would add your talent for device building, because that is exactly
That's
what
what
you
you would do, but her science skill is higher, so
Correct.
she do something
Alas. You are building something.
scientifically. 8 plus 6.
12.
Really?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you are in CTOS's lab, so you do receive at least a small benefit to your craft from doing that. So this is sort of his secret home base, so to speak, in the desert. So he has crafted himself a fairly luxurious, I guess you could say, laboratory. Similar, actually, the other thing I could really compare it to is, like, do you remember your trial?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that laboratory that you had
Yeah.
access to? It's very similar, obviously not necessarily Earth in origin, but it has pretty much everything you need, so I'll give you a small bump for that. But yeah, you were able to craft
No.
Piglet. Piglet is more of a stealth scout droid that is capable of picking up information on a scan that you can...
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you definitely... No. So you can activate Piglet, and it does not contain a filter through the Mars neural network.
No, he's not as smart, but just as cute.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, he's littler, so he's even
Yeah,
cuter.
he's smaller.
Yeah.
In other words, this pig is lit.
Yeah.
I'm fired from the
I hate
show.
you for more reasons than one.
Now,
Piglet is born.
you are in the very small, almost military-style med bay because CTOS is not used to operating on humanoids, like
Right.
actual biological beings, so
Well,
it
that's
is
good.
fairly Spartan. He does, though, already have 13 in a stasis field. So if you're going to work on 13 in conjunction with Marcus, who can give you a bonus given the fact that he shares a physiology, I guess, for lack of a better word, you may do so. So what are you specifically attempting to do with 13?
I'm specifically going to be attempting to heal him. That's my goal.
Understood.
If I don't roll high enough, I don't do well enough, I just want to make sure that I can stabilize him more than he is at this time.
Right.
I feel like at any point he could just die.
When the stasis thing goes off, you will have an extremely short window.
There you go. Okay, so
Remember, he chose to
my
kill
goal-
himself too, so
yeah,
maybe
no.
healing might not.
I really disagree with that decision, everybody.
So in theory,
Well, he healed and then he
your-
killed himself.
Too bad.
body runs off a certain type of energy. She might be able to siphon the energy which is flowing throughout your body to maintain the appearance of a biological being in order to sort of subsidize 13's own systems.
Almost like a blood transfusion, kind of.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's a good, really good analogy actually. It's not literal, but it's a very good analogy.
An oil transfusion.
I would hate you.
Like Tin Man.
That white stuff from that other, those other aliens.
Yeah.
That other
Eastland.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeet. All right.
So it is a heal roll,
Heal
but you're
roll.
going to have some sort of... I mean, you could add that device thing. I'll give you half your device because I think that's fair. And I'll give you a small bump. for-
Interspecies surgical skill.
That
What
was
do
what
I-
I was going to
What
use.
do I roll?
I'll give it to you.
Yeet. Hell yeah.
I may not give it... It's 6, right?
It's 6.
Okay.
I also have disease knowledge.
I will let you add 6, but I won't give you a bonus for the lab.
Fair.
What do I roll to help? Nothing.
You're going to give a bonus, a default to this.
Okay.
So I think as long as you're physically present, you're going to be okay. Although it depends what happens when he
14.
wakes up. So, just a reminder for folks, a couple episodes ago now, I believe what happened was 13 had his fingers extended into his brain in an attempt to kill himself. I believe that's exactly what he did.
So rude.
So basically, you had to remove his hand and the sort of tubes that he had used, and you opened up his cranium. Simultaneously, you had done some work with Marcus, how to open it up and, figure out, well, this looks exactly like a human skull. Like, how do you actually move around the bits and pieces? You're able to extract the
Tendrils?
the components of his hands that are in his brain and basically start remapping some of the circuitry. But I would say that even with such an amazing roll, you're probably only able to get about a third of his original functionality. So it's almost like when you have brain damage after a serious accident. That said, he is alive, he is functional, and when you, the moment of your choosing, at the very end, and this is like a 6, 7, 8 hour procedure, and you're all very tired on, early on the second day of the 2-day safe harbor, you could wake him up. You don't have to, but I'm saying, like, you realize that you believe he has the power to become self-sufficient once again if you choose to take him out of stasis and wake him.
Is there a risk of further brain damage by waking him up?
No.
Or degradation?
Or at least you don't think so.
Unless
It's
he
not like
runs
you would
into
wake him
Right.
up and he just like starts bleeding out energy.
Right.
Basically, he's now at his default point, albeit less, is
If we
okay.
keep him under, is there a chance we can regain later his full abilities or no?
I
Technically,
mean,
with a coma patient,
not ever 100%, but more than today. I mean, it is possible.
Okay.
There's just a chance
I
that he
would
wakes
leave
back
him
up
under
and sticks his other hand.
for now as well,
Okay.
just because I'm going to sleep the rest of the time over here.
Understood. All right, great turn. Who's next?
Oh.
Arnold.
Yeah, sure. Since we have access to the neural network,
Yes.
I'm going to write down every bit of historical information that I can.
Aw.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay.
Like Kate Blanchett talking to that alien wanting to know everything, except hopefully my brain won't explode.
Okay, I will allow you to work with CTOS on that. So basically, one thing that I should mention is that CTOS has basically told the crew that he is going to try to use the network, which obviously he's never really had access to this degree before, to find a way to A, stop the Martian army from invading Earth, first and foremost, but also to figure out what the secret of the Trinity's power is, for lack of a better way. However, what Arnold is doing is with his turn is trying to figure out what
Everything.
information does the network contain that kind of helps explain the situation. All right, so this is definitely a history roll, and then I'll use his electronics.
I'm also looking for anything that might help me figure out how to blow up the moon more effectively.
I see.
How to blow up the moon without destroying
The
everything.
viewers are gonna be
else.
like, man, I hope this moon blows up for Chris.
We love that guy.
It's gonna be years from now. Arnold's gonna be on a beach in Florida, like on the Earth, just with a remote. Like, I wonder what would happen.
Does
I
this thing still work?
I could do it, you know.
It's just something he talks about for years after.
All right, so a 10, so history, so that's a 10 plus 6, so 16.
He also rolled a 16.
Ooh.
Impossible.
32 total.
Blow up the moon, blow up the moon, blow up the moon.
So, a lot of what CTOS is doing is a lot of sort of concurrent work. He is functionally an artificial intelligence so far as you understand it. So he's able to work with a lot of you concurrently. So, Arnold, with you specifically, at this time, we're going to say that he started to open up gateways into the network with Legs' help, and we'll get to Legs at the end. But with you, the only analogy that I can really draw, and I'm going to give this to Legs a little bit later as well, is like when you're in a computer and you like drill into folders and there's subfolders and subfolders. So it's not obviously literally like that, but the way the information starts sort of almost like washing over your brain like waves over a beach is it feels like you're going deeper and deeper, right? It's the only way that I can draw that would kind of make it feel like what Arnold is experiencing. And what you're looking for...
It's like discovering Wikipedia for the first time.
Yeah, except you realize that you have this very strange feeling that it's not so literal as a computer, but it's more that your intent is driving the information that you're finding.
Oh.
And what you looked for was everything. So you found nothing because it wasn't specific. No. At first, don't worry. I'm going to give up. You rolled really well. However, when you make that realization, you start to narrow it down. So when you realize that a broad field of intent, like emotionally, is going to get nothing, what does Arnold narrow it down to?
Secrets. Something that would be used against our adversaries at this time. Pretty much things they wouldn't want me to know.
Understood. So when you sharpen and hone that focus, you come across information in this digital interface in your brain that feels like memories. And all of a sudden, your reality changes. And you are sitting on a cafe bench, and you realize that this must be the Mars that Earth once knew, Mars Prime, back before the calamity. And it's in the morning. You look down at your clothes, and you are probably like a plain clothes security officer of some kind in Mars Prime. By taking a little bit deeper with your history roll, actually probably pretty high up, if not the leader of that particular department. And you can feel in this memory the feeling of the person that you're in. Actually, it's very similar, although not quite the same experience that Nora had in her trial. Very similar, but it's hard for me to describe the difference, but it's similar enough where it's relevant. And you're looking out the window. So you're sitting in one of those, like seats, and you're looking out the window into the street. It's a beautiful. They haven't terraformed Mars yet, so I'd say it almost looks like a beautiful summer day as if you're on Earth, because the hab that you're in is controlling the climate, obviously. And you see two people crossing the street, coming to where you're seated inside this cafe, so to speak. And in this memory that you're living, you realize that is your wife and your like 6-year-old daughter. And you get very excited, like, oh, they finally got here. They're a little late, but that's okay. And all of a sudden, in this memory, there is the brightest of bright flashes. And you see the buildings on your left just start to get swept and destroyed, and you see your wife and child vaporized in the middle of the street, and then you just get hit and you get knocked out. So that is what you see. So then when you come to, you realize that there's an imprint on the memory, almost like a digital signature. And when you come out, Cetos is in one of his android's bodies, and he says, do you know who that may have been? And Arnold is starting to realize that you think that you do. And you don't know why you can say it, but based on... It's really... You know how, like, you know, you look at, like, who owns this folder? It's like, that's the emotion that you're receiving. And for some reason, you believe with all your heart that the wolf, you lived one of his memories. And that's what you saw.
Alright, so next I want to look in more of the wolf stuff, especially his file labeled homework.
Taxes. Look in the taxes folder.
Okay.
No, I want to see something more recent, something more that we can use. You know what? How would the Leviathans be transported to Earth?
I'll give... I mean, you can give it a whirl.
Okay.
In the Colossus's hand.
Yeah,
I'll
so-
let you roll history because of how you're going to go about it,
Yeah.
but the way that information will be conveyed might be different if you're successful.
Sure. Jesus. 12.
You navigate to a very different part of the memory section, and you realize that the memories are completely disassociated from the people that you know of as the Trinity. Meaning, it's almost like when they ceased to become the humans that you know, the memories don't exist. However, there is a memory from somebody... Actually, what was your total roll?
12.
That you feel like you've heard of, but you can't quite place it. Somebody that may have lived on Mars and been an important part of their society, but it's on the tip of your tongue, but you can't quite get there. And you feel like you don't get the information you're looking for, but what I will say is that you think you know who might have built them. And you come out and you, again, have this very strange feeling that they might be biologically related to legs. And you can't explain why.
Oh.
Arms.
My brother?
My evil twin!
Oh, God. Fair enough. Great to me. Who's next?
Leg with a mustache.
All right, Nora, what do you got for us?
Nora is gonna ask for legs help as well as searches.
Understood?
And she's basically like, could you just like surgically implant a memory core into my body?
I mean,
I
it's
could
doable.
surgically implant anything into your body.
Ooh.
Math. Well,
All right.
yeah.
I like
What-
the
Yeah,
prospect
memory
of
card.
knowing that.
Memory card for what?
The neural network
You're going to...
As a backup?
as a backup.
So, like, a chip. I mean, do.
So it's not all.
Okay, so let me be clear just really quick about what the neural network is and isn't. Pig
Yeah, I feel like
Pig has a beacon which can pull in the network like a lightning rod can pull in lightning. It doesn't literally contain it per se, like a database stores data. However, it can access it all at one time. So what you're asking for isn't a database, it is a method of access. I just want to be clear about
She
what it
wants
is.
to be one
Okay.
lightning rod.
Yeah,
So
Which is big, that's fine.
there's a second part to it.
That's
that
which is totally fine. I just want to be clear.
I actually told you about the fact that I'd like if I could have it in my body and then have a wire that runs up into the Eden machine on my arm.
Interesting.
I mean, it wouldn't be a literal, it'd be digital.
Yeah,
It'd be,
yeah.
that'd be wireless, but fair
I
enough.
like that. You
We're
can
in
see the connection
but
between.
yeah,
So you're trying to use your body to connect access to the neural network with your access to the Eden machine.
Yeah, because it's already used to processing a huge beacon
That's
of
very interesting. Difficult, but very interesting and plausible.
the intent is that like if we ever lose Pig for some
I
reason,
understand the intent. Fantastic idea.
Well, I think it's going to answer a lot of potential questions if she rolls well too, connecting it to the Eden machine and seeing the connection between
Mars.
So
and
Mars' information and
Her direct access has been severed. However, it contains a lot of the processing power that it otherwise would have. You can't be like, hey, Earth, what's good, homie? It's not like
yeah,
that.
like I've been trying to get in touch with Earth continuously to warn them, and I've sent out warning beacons to them.
Right.
Like I did in
Right,
the last
the
episode.
last transmission we had, they were like, "No, don't talk to us anymore."
Yeah, but I sent out like an SOS and like a quick message of like
We can
what-
safely say that Earth has received that. Now, in terms of their direct response, we won't be able to know, but she was successful. But, I mean, that's a phenomenal idea. I mean, give it a whirl. But yeah, there's going to have to be, all three of you are going to have to roll for that.
All right. So
I need science from you to design it.
Yes.
heal or science.
I need you to help build it, and then you to ultimately implant it.
Are
So
you?
mine would be heal or something.
It's healed because you're putting it in her body.
And I
You're
can
building what she is designing,
So
but
craft.
you have to successfully design it first. So yours is actually a science roll.
Give me a design.
My auto helping people or still or?
How would you like to augment this
Yes,
if possible? You don't have to. I mean, I would say that you have helped 13. You're obviously going to help a semen, and you're going to be helping legs. That's a lot.
Okay, so
You don't have to. If you have an idea specific to this, please let me know.
What do we got?
Okay, can I add Eden Machine?
Yes, absolutely.
Sweet. That is 16.
Really?
Nice.
Hell yeah.
I rolled a
So-
1 and a 2 on my first roll. You have no idea how much exciting this in a second.
So I don't know if you guys know what CAD software is, but it's like architecture design. So think of an extraordinarily modern version of that, but for the way that information is being processed and how information flows. So using one of CTOS's programs, you're able to design a flow of information which you strongly believe would be able to connect, filter, and ultimately be able to leverage in real time the connection between those. So you designed that successfully. At least you believe that strongly.
Yeah, I believe that it can be done.
Yes, and you go, hey, please
I
do
have
it.
this
Yeah.
crazy prototype idea.
So then,
Alright.
So you're crafting the chip itself.
Yes.
yeah, and so you basically now have to build it. So there's actually 2 roles. Actually, no, we'll keep it as 1, which to be fair, but it's craft, not electronics in this case.
Okay.
Because you are physically building.
Both the same, baby.
Same.
That's true. I
science
forgot
and
about
heal.
that. And what's
Okay.
your talent?
So the first, I also have a creator as a master talent or hacking.
Fair enough.
So the first 2 dice were a 4 and a 5, and then a 5 and a 1. I'll take the 5 and a 5 for 10 plus 6, 16.
Hell yeah.
All right.
My boy.
Using CTOS's laboratory,
Baby.
it's actually an 18 with his lab because his
My brain.
lab gives a default bonus. And actually, the idea is so good, I'll even let you make it a flat 20, which is an extraordinary roll. So it's not so obvious. I mean, it does have a physical chip component, but you realize you have to anchor this somewhere on the planet. So what you decide to do is you anchor this to CTOS's lab. So as long as the lab is receiving power, something has to act as the rod. Your body would like literally blow up.
Right.
Yeah.
So something has to anchor that, but if it is anchored, you think that if she successfully implants it, it will work.
Can we ask CTOS to hide it somewhere, like under his lab or
Right,
something,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that if they like storm his lab,
It's not like there's going to be like
It's not
neon
just on
arrows.
On the top of the
Right.
chapel.
Right. So I mean, yeah. Let's see if you can get it in.
All right.
Heal.
Let's see if I can get it in.
we make this beautiful device, and then Saoirse's just like, I don't care about you. Stab.
Done.
Jam it in there.
Well, considering I got a 6 and a 5, and then I would say what surgical skill would probably be what I would
Yeah,
use.
that's what you're using.
So that would be a 15.
Wow.
So that'd be 17.
Oh, 17. Even better. My math is
Probably
bad.
All got
My
almost
Sorry.
perfect rolls.
healing is good.
So
Good idea. It didn't need it to happen.
Yeah, the dice were like,
So,
love this story.
I would say that you have now successfully created the first bridge between the neural network and the Eden machine interface.
Eden.
So that occupied a great deal of time. So you
It
won't
did.
be able to really dig into that till either later in your next series of actions. However,
Had very severe surgeries, so I feel like I should sleep.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So that is in you, and you can now leverage that. That's a freaking amazing idea.
Does
Well
the
done.
Eden machine automatically connect? Did we just give the Earth government all of Mars's
Mm.
information?
No.
Only if she voluntarily.
Okay.
But
She is the power.
if we do get outside of Mars's dampening field and I'm able to actually send out a signal, I mean, it's a lot of information, but I feel like bits and pieces can start to be sent off. Just
Someone turn off the dampening field.
Well, I can say that could be
Oh, I don't know if that's good.
that could be good or that could be bad.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Listen.
Is if Earth
It's hard to
figures out
know
there
for sure.
is a
Tell us.
connection.
Tell us everything.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Earth isn't
All right,
crazy.
so we're sleeping.
Yeah.
Siba?
We sleeping.
I want to talk to CTOS about how to augment our suits or my predator suit to just better be able to deal with the Trinity, because every time I've come up against them so far, I've been totally like blasted.
In what way? Weapons, defense, or stealth?
Well, Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, the more broad, the more difficult you're going to have to roll, and I will make that number pretty high. However, if it's narrow, you have a more higher chance of success. So your call.
I'll ship that difficulty if you want to. It's something real broad.
Ooh, we do have chips.
That is on
Sure,
the table.
yeah.
However,
Everyone use their ships.
No one use their chips because I feel like we're gonna need it in about like an hour.
I'm kidding.
We can use a chip as a
Everyone blow their chips.
Before we started, Ian said he was really excited about this one, and now I'm
You're
scared.
for maximum violence.
violence, yes.
We
Need
would I be able to do a stealth field that encompasses the entire crew?
Yes, it is
that
possible.
How plausible? How feasible is it?
If that's your one thing,
And the ship too.
I would say that it is within the realm of possibility that if you're within 10 feet of a person generating the field and you had the power to generate the field, it could work.
Okay.
Could she, if she was inside of a ship, envelop the ship?
Not from her suit, but the ship could envelop itself. So you have to choose one or the other.
The ship or the suits for the stealth.
Right.
Yeah.
So what Asima is asking
It's a tough
for,
one.
can I modify the Predator suit to generate a stealth field
She's
that if you stand within 10 feet of her, in essence stealths the whole party? Or do I figure out how the Trinity is tracking the Kaizen's cloak and get through that? She will have to pick one.
I
If I
think
get
so.
the stealth option.
What
The question is, we're going to be in the ship more often in the next couple
Right.
episodes, or are we going to be on?
while you're talking to Cetos, does he have any idea of what the next steps of the plan are,
Yeah.
so that we can either implement it into your suit if we're going to be on land, or implement it in the ship if we're doing?
Yeah, and that's if we go the stealth option.
What was
Right.
your
There's also defense and weapons.
You could also, with the stealth option, create like a box, like a black box.
You can create a box regardless.
That's true. That does what you're asking and could do either or. So you put it on the ship in the middle of the ship, it's cloaking the ship. But if we take it off the
It
ship,
wouldn't be big enough to cloak
Put it on
the
your
whole
belt.
ship. The ship is like, I hate to Anmul has made some good points in the past. I hate to root it in references, but we all know the reference. The Millennium Falcon, the Kaizen is 2.5 times the size of it.
Right.
okay.
Right. It's large, so it's not a small ship. It has a lot of power.
It's like a vortex.
So it's possible that at this safe harbor, I think that my personal opinion, at this safe harbor, you should personalize stealth to you and where we travel, or unless you want to do something else, and then at the next safe harbor, possibly implement that into the ship or something.
Nora, real quick, Nora.
I would have Cetus.
Nora's recovering and she's like, I had this idea. And again, it's a little rooted from a reference, but more or less, like some sort of shielding tech that could also have a stealth option, where it's basically just like a screen shield that comes out from your predator shoot's arm, like you're going up like barricading, and it just mimics what's behind it, minus the like whoever's behind it.
Right. So again, that's combining shield and stealth, which means it's more difficult, plausible, but more difficult to roll for. So basically, that's
What about we can pretty much stealth things regardless. Like we can find other ways to do things like hacking, stuff like that for the camera and stuff. I would suggest offense, something offensive, because you're right.
Photon.
Wow, it just really making this difficult.
Doesn't arrive till Tuesday.
No,
Because last, like when I got hit with whatever, I can't remember.
it was a literal bolt of lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
True.
I think Captain Marks would hear this debate. I think we having this debate. What should we do? What should we choose between this and that? And I think he would say something along the lines of, I think stealth is the best bet. We have no shot, even if we were to create a powerful weapon or shield. We're purely outnumbered, right? We need to be hidden.
That's what I'm getting at, though. We're outnumbered. What if we can negate that?
We'll negate that with being invisible.
No. Negate it
I
with,
never-
with using numbers on our side. What's
Create our own robots?
Yes. Or why create?
Need a fact check.
Come on.
Why create when you can steal?
Oh,
so
That's
what-
the
what are those-
Leviathan. That was on the Ares though.
Some
right?
sort of like
Oh
corrupting.
no, the
Well, I'm
Leviathan
thinking the swarm.
Cetos has my Leviathan, which I left it at the club.
The swarm that brought us down originally is
It's
fast,
still physically
mobile,
there.
and not
Yeah,
intelligent.
obviously.
He moved in
We
between
can
bodies.
use- Maybe you
I
can
know.
get like a
but he just
hacking
moved
thing.
back to a body
And
that's
not only
like
can you
out of
use
here.
that-
Yes, you could
So
use
that's
it. Well, no, because they locked the city down. So he actually probably is forcibly here, although you guys might not know that
And
yet.
use for defense. It's making a shield.
My counter to that is, how's your electronics and hacking skills?
So my electronics is master.
Okay.
but
And
I don't
weapon
have,
mastery.
like hacking.
I have hacking. I can help.
So think about what would be good for your character too.
I have UI mastery at
I-
expert.
Steal some.
Is it
weapon
possible
mastery.
to?
All right.
All right. I think we know it's possible. I think now's time for a decision. You asked for Cetas's recommendation.
Did you and you heard him about the swarm and all that?
Right. So I think what Cetas's main response that relates to that is I am looking into what the network is telling us about where their mind is at.
Yep.
In the meantime, we have to optimize our plan. I think that because our numbers are so few and we don't yet know how to override their control over the army, that stealth is likely the safest option because we can move in and out. However, defense never hurt anybody anytime.
But the defense would only be augmented to my predator suit. I wouldn't be able.
Depends what you're designing. I mean, again, you could create a barrier of sorts that's made out of a certain amount of energy that would be very difficult to penetrate, and if people were behind it, you might be able to stop them from blowing it up.
Could I do something that reflects it back to them?
Yep, but that's defense and offense. But yeah, you could do it.
Game the system.
I would say I agree with Cetas. We should probably focus on stealth. But it's up to you.
I think with our
I
EMP,
like the idea of being able to turn their ship in combat.
I will leave that up to you.
Yeah, fun with devious stuff.
So I think that now is the time for the decision. What will you attempt to do?
Moon laser.
I mean, we do have that offensive strategy, last ditch effort. We could blow up the moon.
And then a
And we
lightning
have
bolt
EMP.
comes, you reflect it toward the moon. Oh, crap!
My moon.
Oh,
Me-
focus.
Blew up in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I mean, could I put something in my predator suit that, like, let's say if we're all somewhat in the same area and we're getting, like, and I put myself at the front, that I could deflect whatever energy, whatnot.
Let's just say a lightning bolt.
Like,
Bold or like.
it doesn't have to be a specific type of offense, that it can only deflect that.
I mean, I won't answer that, but I think conceptually I'll let you try to build it, and then we'll see how good it is,
Yeah.
or how universal it is, depending on your results. Because Cetas is going to help you, and so is Marcus.
And
That
then-
is a plausible, actionable idea.
And then the stealth route, what's the widest space-wise? Or
10 feet radius.
But
We could all.
if you're doing predator suit, me and you have predator suit, so we could have like 20 feet. Correct?
would he be able to also have?
That is a good point. Incorrect.
We could modify. both.
If you develop the technology, it would modify both. I forgot.
We're doing the defensive shield on the 2 predator suits.
Okay, so then you are going to collaborate with Cetas and Marcus, I think we
Cool.
had said.
Yes.
So you are rolling for combat weapon mastery, and Marcus is rolling for electronics.
Cool.
Sound good?
Good.
Do it up. Oh, baby.
So 11, 17.
17 as well.
Damn.
Did all of us almost roll like we
Yeah, we
16,
rolled
16,
really good.
17, 17?
Also 17 by Cetas.
Damn. It's
Yeah.
gonna
That's
be
one.
a
I got a 16.
great shield. It better
16,
be.
16, 16, 17, 17, 17, 17.
Right. So again,
You
know,
got a 60 on my roll.
relative to the
We are
difficulty of the
gods.
situation at hand, which is what that role is relevant toward, you design an interface, or basically a component of your Predator suit's digital interface, where you can activate a shield that projects several feet in front of you that utilizes your Predator suit's native energy. And what the shield does is about as big as the backdrop, so now the audience can't see, is about 8 feet by 10 feet out in front of you. It does have stealth components, so it could sort of obfuscate what's behind it. But perhaps more importantly, it absorbs energy, thus increasing your Predator suit's net energy, but also has the capacity to reflect energy weapons. It'll eviscerate or disintegrate, more accurately, a traditional projectile, but since we're on Mars in 2120, it's probably more likely to be energy-based weapons, and it can reflect it. More so, given your role, I will say that because of your reflexes, in real time, you might be able to, if you can guide it with your mind and the UI, it won't be a haphazard reflection. You might be able to control with some degree of accuracy where it's reflected.
Word.
But you're gonna have to do that pretty quick.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yep.
That
Done.
exists.
You got the monk deflect missiles.
All right.
Done.
So I think we are now, Marcus, you are now going to be helping Legs. So we're gonna bring time back to a uniform point. This is going to be late in the evening on day 2 of the safe harbor. And Legs and Cetas have been working on a way to break through the neural network to get to a point where we can actually use it, leverage it, find out what the heck is going on here.
What do we do next?
All right. So Cetas, Legs, you're tired, but you and Cetas are working, and Cetas comes to you, after taking, another break. You got to take a step back. You're getting, too into it, and Cetas says, "I think we are going about this the wrong way." What I'm going to say is right before this, Arnold, you've had your experience, right?
I've had several experiences.
Specifically what I mean is that instead of looking at information very literally, it ultimately was the intent of your search that guided you, right? So that knowledge is kind of what Cetas says, maybe we're looking at this, too literally, too much from an engineering and schematically, right? Instead, we should think of this more emotionally. As I do not possess emotions, Legs, it might behoove you to try and look through this almost like you're swimming underwater looking for something at the bottom of a lake. That's how he says look at it. But you're not looking at it thinking I know exactly what's at the bottom of the lake. It's more like I'm just gonna go swimming and see what happens. So that's the idea he's come up with. So we're gonna take your turn. It's gonna start from there.
So we're not plugging me into the.
We are. Well, not you. He's gonna get plugged in. You're gonna help, depending on what happens.
You gonna do a cannonball into the lake, or?
Well, without a group discussion, my initial, because I would ask the group eventually, but my initial thought when Cetas says that would be, I'm also trying to find a way to end this, not with destruction of both or either worlds.
Right.
Is there a way that we can get through to either the Trinity or the populace of Mars to either find sympathy in our cause or to find the faults in their attack Earth cause?
Fault in our stars.
Or, yeah.
Right. All that's certainly plausible. What I would say is you can align on those objectives, but ultimately it's just you going in.
Okay. Do we think that there's another avenue I should focus on, or?
I actually think that that's probably the best idea.
Because other than shutting down the Leviathan army, we're just delaying.
Right.
Well, did Arnold relay to you that memory he experienced?
Right, with the wolf.
Yeah, I was supposed to
Because I would ponder that to the group. I would have that thought myself and then ponder to the group.
It's a look.
Did he say you were directly related to him?
Not the wolf.
No. Okay, so what we got was a look into the wolf's motivation. Why does he have this amount of hate for Earth? Well, his family's dead. So what we need to do is kind of figure out how to. That's basically hinting at there's a peaceful solution to this, and it's therapy. But what we found out about Leg's relative is he designed. What did he design specifically?
The
Leviathans.
To an
Right.
extent. Something
Something-
about, yeah.
Something.
materially involved in, because you asked about their development, and for some
No, I asked what their transports
the
them.
plan to Earth. So basically, in order to get to the nexus or the root of that question, how are they built? How do they function? How are they going to move? So that's the information I gave. And for some reason, you think that it's his biological relative that was involved. In
Because
that.
there's a technology there that is reminiscent of your legs. See, because my plan was to find out what ship they're on and just kind of crash it into them.
But it
Into the
also
moon?
raises the
And the moon.
question, maybe it's not a descendant of Legs. Maybe it's Legs. Because Legs, you built the Kaizen. Maybe they're planning on stealing our ship, bringing it back to Earth.
This was years ago.
Here's what I would say.
I mean, we should
the
also
Leviathan
better
army
tabs on our ship.
is 100
We could use it
million
for a
of the
while.
Leviathans. What's big enough that you know of that could
Colossus.
possibly the Colossus is? Right?
Oh, right. The Colossus
And
is.
so what you're saying is
He rocket punched
that
his
the Colossus must be involved with legs, logically, and biologically involved with him.
He just made bigger legs.
I would
So
I would suggest if you're gonna dive deep emotionally is to find the truth. Who's behind that nuclear original attack, and then once you find the truth, to tell everybody, let the truth be known, and that's gonna really screw with the Trinity's mind. Because it clearly wasn't humanity's fault; it was one entity or maybe a group of people.
And we know it's like the Ottawale Industries or whatever.
The Dune machine has some sort of connection.
Yeah.
So if we can discover the actual truth behind,
well, as a character, I think I know the truth / reason / where this leads, because my mother, Hank's mother, helped build the Adun machine, helped program the original. I didn't know a lot about her father, but apparently he was also a great programmer and builder and things like that.
yeah.
Is your grandpa the Colossus?
I don't know if he is or helped build it.
Stand right in
or,
front of him and go, Papa!
But as you guys are just talking around it, Hank is thinking did my mom helped build the Eden machine? Did my grandfather, was he one of the first on Mars?
Well, I have
Let
a
me do a
note
history
here
check
that says
on
your
your
grandfather
genealogy.
Could I
was
give Arnold my grandfather's name, and for him to check the history?
I
or,
have access to the
files?
history
Yes.
of Mars, dude! Yes!
Yes, you could.
What were you gonna say?
Well, no, because I have a note
we
here
have
that
so many
says
things
your
to do now that we
grandfather
don't
was part of one of the early waves of Mars,
Mhm.
and that because we saw traces of his work in the Phobos terminal.
Right.
That's correct.
That's
So
because
like
that's how
we
I.
know for sure he was.
That's how I put that together.
Yeah,
that is his
yeah.
grandfather's.
So we just don't know what happened
Right.
after that.
You're more than welcome.
We're
But now
about
that,
to.
Now that you're in the secrets folder.
Okay, homework?
Homework. Prizes.
Oh, ah! A whole giraffe?
On that 12.
Two separate
18.
roles, but
This is like a GM DM note. I've taken a little bit of a liberty with your family genealogy.
Yep.
So you are from New England in the United States. However, on your mother's grandfather is Chinese, and when the war was over, between the various factions. So there's the unification forces and the Dongfeng, which is the eastern wing, and then when the unification and bringing togetherness and harmony and rebuilding one another and investing in one another's success, one another's culture, one another's history. Part of one of those expeditions was your Chinese grandfather, but his last name was, and I sincerely apologize for the pronunciation, is spelled Yeung, which I think, and then your grandmother was
Americanized.
Young. So basically, when they decided to live in the United States instead of China, they just made it Young. However, his last name is Young, so James Young, I don't know how to pronounce it, I think it's Young,
Young, yeah. I might have messed
is your grandfather. However, they became estranged, and he decided to move to Mars Prime, where he became Mars Prime's chief engineer. So your grandfather was Mars Prime's chief engineer.
I will tell him this as Arnold.
But you don't necessarily know that because he
Right.
became estranged. All you know is
Right.
that
My mother
he
would
went
talk
to,
about my grandfather, but
he
not.
went. You probably figured out that he went to Mars, but in terms of his role, occupation, I mean, you probably just assumed he
Well,
was.
this is before
Right.
he was born.
That's why I'm only piecing
Right.
it together
Many,
because
many
they're
years.
talking around it.
You may not even literally have met him. I mean, we can talk about that later, but that's. Yeah.
So hacker montage of Arnold going all through these files and just looks at legs and goes was your grandfather, yes he was. Your grandfather was one of Mars's top engineers, actually the top engineer, which I would say that's something to be proud of, except there's some implications there.
Yeah. I don't know how to feel about that. Yeah. The dog walking into the room and it's all on fire.
Fine.
Is there anything in the files that indicate what he designed, engineered?
Let me take a look.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Ian.
ultimately he's responsible for some of the development of
I was
the
like,
Mars
did
Hound
he build
complex.
some of the skyscrapers,
he
or did
made-
he build
he
the
made-
Leviathan army?
He made the half
And
copy.
he
You
also told me-
definitely
And the
will
Colossus.
not find out right now what
Okay.
his role is post-calamity.
Okay.
However, pre-calamity, those are the files that Arnold is accessing. He had a team of architects, so he didn't necessarily build the skyscrapers. However, he did help design the sort of concatenation between the hab complexes to form a city, which is ridiculous.
Can I look into? Sorry, honey.
You do your thing.
Can I look into see if he had anything to do with robotics?
So yes, he had two different ways of going about robotics. One, he invented whether you call it an android or a robot, I think is splitting hairs a little bit here. But that basically was a builder that could function in Mars's climate without a human in a environmental suit.
Is there a picture of that?
Yes.
What does it look like?
Ian wasn't expecting this question.
No,
Does
I
it-
mean, the truth is that it looked. Roll history, because I'm going to tell you an answer, but I want to see how.
How smart you are.
I'm not in the room, so I can't say that out loud, but
15.
So you know how like there's different generations of products, and like you can tell how something looks really old school if we know, like, for example, the first generation iPhone compared to what we have today. They look kind of like Martian citizens today, but like
The iPhone 3
way
version.
back they may have been workers that built Mars Prime as.
So, remember iRobot?
I've seen it once, but a long time ago.
Like the older robots look more janky and stuff. And
I believe you. I
newer
don't remember, but I
robots-
It's
believe
like
you.
Bicentennial Man. He
Yeah,
starts out
they start to look more human as they
That's
get
a
more
much.
advanced.
I think that's a much better analogy. Yeah, it's like that, except you're starting to like put pieces together.
He
Now
was the
they're Robin Williams.
primogenitor
Then
of this
they were.
entire race of Martians.
Do we know how long CTOS has been around? Like, has he said that his?
I knew I
We're gonna find out.
Because he said there was.
baby.
Yeah, this is Jared forgetting. Didn't he say there was a gap in his memory where he doesn't remember
That's
some
right.
stuff?
Yep.
So are you gonna look?
Is
for
there any?
CTOS?
I would ask
I s-
Arnold.
However, in the second episode, I did describe some of the things. He has flashes of memory. He sees the Martian desert. He sees wheels in the sand. That's all he sees.
Oh my god, it's the Mars rover.
Go ahead.
CTOS he's the Mars rover.
Wait, what?
Okay,
and that's how they started to build
13.
them.
Huh?
13.
What are you looking for specifically?
Is CTOS the Mars rover? Yes or no? Put it into
Anything-
Google.
Anything
Listen.
that has okay. I got the
Pathfinder.
specific.
Run Mars.
I got the specific. CTOS, right? So I'm taking every letter of that and every combination of it and searching for that. Things that match.
And what'd you roll?
I rolled a 13.
Honestly,
You think you're starting to develop a pattern, and you feel like he is clearly related in some form or function to what you described as the primordial, i.e., 80 years ago Mars. But he's also really desperate for that answer too. So he's trying to help you, but he's like, what could that name? You're like, how could I have been a part of it? And then you're like, well, let's look at your name. Let's look at your name's history. And you're starting to look at it and chunk it down to word cells, but I won't let you complete it with that roll. Sorry. You're gonna use it?
Yeah.
please do.
Hell yeah.
This
I
is
will
very important to us.
I will let you.
I love
but you
lore.
have to re-roll because basically you are
Do
taking
it.
that and enhancing its potential. So I won't let it just stand. You have to still roll really high.
I see 2 6s on it.
Yep, we're good.
Okay, so 17.
Whoa,
Good.
baby.
Are you good with languages?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have languages as a talent?
I do.
He actually
No,
has
you
it as
don't.
Yes, I do. I have a skill.
And I said it was canon, which means I have to give it to you, which is very unfortunate.
Wow.
I have. If you want looking for talents, I have food snob. So if he's a type of food,
Here's what I'll
He's
say.
the type of food.
He has a talent of
CTOS is the
academic
original
as well.
lobster.
he's the original
Millions
lobster.
and millions of years
I
ago.
will
We've
reiterate.
come together.
I hate you for more than one reason, but I love this one.
Okay, let me.
Guys, have you ever wanted to see a DM mad at you? You ask just the right string of questions.
Okay,
Do you want me to stop?
no.
Okay.
Here's the deal. You you come to a conclusion that is very startling and pretty much impossible. So what you decide to do is figure out a way that it could be possible. And you have no idea, but your best running theory is that if all Cetas remembers is, the hot Martian desert, looking around at its landscapes, and wheels on the sand, and his name is Cetas, you are one of the few people alive who are fluent in Latin. And when you start chunking things down into word cells, the word curiosity in Latin is curiositas, and Cetas is it's the last part. So you think that somehow Cetas is the Curiosity rover.
What's that mean exactly?
That's a
that
good
he
question.
was the first rover on Mars.
You would know.
Like
He's
from
one
our
Pathfinder.
2020
Was the first Martian
rover.
rover called like the
Yeah, but did it have
Curiosity or
AI
something?
technology at the time? That
There's
powerful?
several Martian
How did it
rovers,
become-
especially
Martian rover
now. and
Today,
several of them
literally
are
right
still-
now, Curiosity is is an alive,
Right,
active
2020.
rover on Mars.
There's also
Wait,
a
is that
theory
the one
of
that just refuses to die?
He's
So it
And
might not
sings
be
itself
AI.
happy
Curiosity is a
birthday
boss.
every year?
Look up
Building a
Curiosity. It's a
civilization.
total
So
boss.
they might
Oh,
have
okay.
So
So
there's-
it's the good boy.
there's a theory
Because
of
he was
like
the first.
Ian's kind of putting up with a theory of robotics evolving as humans did in some certain way. So he's picking up on that, and that's
But why is he independent?
what we don't know.
Because
asking-
he's
I'm
been.
That's why
Oh,
he's
you're
shocked.
asking-
He's
you're-
like the only
you're
thing
asking
that
in
can
character?
make sense.
So you guys are just chilling. Arnold's like he's doing this because of his own curiosity.
However, I won't let you tell people yet.
Ooh,
You have to keep
you
that
hear
inside.
you were here at intake of breath.
And then
I would
want
say
you
I'm
to, I want
sitting
you
nearby.
to, I want you to go in.
Okay.
Because trust me when I say, just
Hey,
play-
Arnie, what's your find?
You've
Well, here's
already
the thing.
found out something that you shouldn't have found out to
this
the end of the
is
show.
CTOS.
Nora and I.
Hey,
Oops.
you know,
Like I've
Nora
seen
and I
the
are
scene where
asleep.
you find out
So-
like
yeah,
100
out,
times.
like,
hold on. I know how to do this. I'm Professor Arnold Gomez, and that's close to doctor, and that's doctor-patient confidentiality. This is his origin. That's his business. I tell CTOS, and that's it. And that is his truth, and
That could
is
be
his
bad.
That is his
Error.
I mean, we don't want to force out
Look, like,
his
you
real
like
name.
can I talk to CTOS kind of away from everyone else so like no one else hears?
I will not give you a full conversation, but I'll let you tell him because like we need to
I'm
start
getting you guys
mashing up the
coffee.
timelines.
Just a quick one.
Just a quick one.
You're amazing. There's theories about something like you happening, but it's impossible. You were once the Curiosity rover. You
He
were a
starts
ci-
accessing his database of information. I don't see any way that is even plausible, let alone possible.
I point him out like my notes and stuff like.
My notes.
Look,
So
look at
all-
all the strings.
Red string
And he
everywhere.
goes, all you have are Latin word cells and a couple images, and you've married them together.
It's more than you have.
But
It's a
Agreed.
jumping
So we're on our way to finding the truth.
Right. Just if it's true, you're amazing.
I walk in the door with two coffees.
You are already amazing.
Arnold?
Okay.
Oh yes,
What's up,
thank you.
bud?
There you go.
When did you get this? They don't drink here. Is this mud? It's mud, isn't it?
Don't think about it.
It's fine.
Mars sand.
Thank you.
I'm a food snob. I need to think.
Oh, I forgot. It's one of your skills.
He goes, I have a skill in linguistics. Like the first one makes no sense. Technically, because anyway,
I have knife fighting too.
you have to choose. You have to basically go in. I think you have all the requisite information that you
Right.
need to go in.
Right.
I
So
will
we're
go-
going
I'm
emotional
going in with
empathy.
You cannot,
Why not?
because the interface is built for one person.
Oh.
Just trust me on this, for Christ's sake.
So I'm going empathy. How to convince
You
them
have to tell me the intent, and then
that we're
gonna
not the
do
bad guy.
We're
Yes.
not the
Well,
bad guy.
well,
I mean, I do keep trying to blow up the room.
I feel like this is Jared's scene, and I feel like Jared said what Jared wants to do.
Well, I
Looking
said
for advice,
before
though.
we were put in
I
time
know.
crunch, I would have my own thoughts, and then I would preface it to the group.
he did.
What is my plan of action? That is what I'm interested in.
good question.
But what does the group see as our overall intent here? Because I think we're delaying the inevitable of there is a Leviathan, millions of robots under that mountain.
So, Cetas's advice to you is to go from an emotional perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means
Try
not,
and relate to them.
not a way of finding out their weaknesses or strengths. It's simply trying to discover, I think, the intent and the truth and delving deeper into that.
What is their true motive?
Okay, that's an intent you can go in with. Totally fine.
And just opening up to them and being real with them.
Could
Being
I
like, Grandpappy, chill. Bro.
Yeah. I feel like you've understood my overall motive of how can we, make us not seem like the bad guys and stop them from sending ships. So
I totally understand.
using the emotional, how do we build a connection with Martians?
We're about
could
to
I
find
could
out.
I put something could I put something your way?
Yeah.
So everything about them, everything about who they are now, not who they were, started because of horrific tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all they know, and that's something that they want to cause. So maybe loop in the own horror of their existence to them just perpetuating it. Something like that.
Be better than what created you.
Or the possibility of the good that they could bring rather than
Outweighing
destruction.
Or blow up the moon.
Have to
Or blow
say
them up.
something. I'm gonna say the good doctor will be monitoring your vitals. If they go, if they become too
We're gonna
much,
pull you out.
Somebody
pull you
wake
out.
me up.
Agreed.
Seriously. God damn it, man.
Agreed.
I'm a doctor.
That
I'm a
was for the
doctor. I'm a
DM.
demolitions expert.
Like I be
What's the
sleeping.
intent?
Do
Final
it.
answer.
The intent is
Bridging the gap.
Bridging the gap. Trying to find a way through.
Let's do this.
Because if they're seeing red, I
The
want to find a
moral
way to clear
connection.
out that red.
As opposed to the neural.
So
Literally,
this is
literally,
actually
literally.
intuition, not electronics.
Is there-
However, I will let you add your neural network.
Is there Matrix music? Doing before they hook up?
All right.
But they're
I don't think that
I
was
don't
the
think we
Matrix
can
music.
use it. It's copywritten.
Which I relate to
If you roll an
electronically.
8 or above, I'll let you roll electronics.
I'm gonna roll.
I don't think so.
No, absolutely not. That's a 7. That's
Oh.
a 6 and a 1.
What am I rolling to help
No,
them?
no.
Am I rolling into
And a 5 and a 2. They're both 7s.
Oh, buddy.
So you must
Plus
roll.
6.
You have to roll. What's your intuition? Proficient.
Yeah, expert.
Oh, then you roll. Then this is a
3 of
feeling.
them.
It's intuition. It's not electronics. At this point, it's all about. So this is it.
I can do it. Absolutely. All
This
the
is
faith.
it.
All the faith in the world.
Chip.
He's also
Oh
helping,
yeah, do I have to do
right?
that before? Do I have to chip before?
The only reason why we said for Arnold is because he's. I thought it was unfair to not allow it because he got wind of it after we started talking about it, and so like I probably shouldn't. But
Wait,
it's also like
did I metagame that? I'm sorry.
Well, kind of, but I feel like I could have done a better job setting it up. I mean, it's fine.
I
The
mean,
way
you
that it
put
went,
language as one of your
it's not
skills.
ideal, but it's within reason.
What
So
am
are
I,
you-
Also,
basically,
Caleb
you should. You
learning.
should say I'm using it or I am not using it.
Yeah.
He'll probably
am I
start
willing
writing.
to help him?
You are sacrificing a turn to add a native bonus.
I'll use it. This seems very important.
What exactly am I doing to help though? Out of a story from a standard story standpoint.
You're just being there. Like
It's
you're
not
just
helping
being
the
there.
second.
You're being a captain.
Can you
Just
blow
hold
on
it.
these dice for me?
Just
Just
hold
blow
it
on
in
them.
his hand.
Just blow on them. Thank you. Ready? Max roll. A 1 and a 4
Oh.
and a 6.
Oh.
I
So a
called it.
6 and a 4 is 10 plus a creator hacker.
Hacker man.
No, the neural network.
Neural
right?
network
Yeah,
is
it's
a
neural
plus 6. 16 plus whatever your and
Right.
justification. That's a plus 2. That's smart, clever, and wise.
Did you get it possible?
Yeah, it's 16 whatever plus your help.
All right, my friend, let's do this.
How you want to do
Um,
this?
Remember how I described Arnold? It's not like drilling into folders. It's more about you're swimming. And looking, but it's more the combination of thought and emotion. It's a very disorienting feeling at first, although with that role, I'll say that you get used to it quick enough to sort of get on the trail, sort
my
of
floaties
Sherlock
on.
Holmes style. It's almost like you're floating through information and feeling and not water. So it's like you're looking through that. Ultimately, though, it's almost like the crest of a horizon comes past your being, and it's almost like you enter it and you find yourself standing in a field of wildflowers as far as the eye can see. In front of you are what almost look like these weird reddish orange blossoms. The flowers are all around you. In front of you, there's a man hunched over, elderly, of Eastern Asian descent. It doesn't take a genius to figure out you feel this may be your grandfather. However, extending beyond his neck and shoulders up into the sky are what you feel are puppet strings. And he starts to approach you, but doesn't say anything yet. He's doing the waddle over toward you.
In disbelief, I just wait. I don't even.
He approaches you, and he says, "Do you know where you are or what this is?"
Marcus.
What do you call your grandfather in real life?
Grandpa.
Okay.
I never saw him, so it was just my mother always referred to him as your grandfather. Or
I'm talking about
grandpa.
real life. Is that true?
Well, I have a grampy, I have a Goomba, and then I
Call
had a
him
grandpa.
Goompa.
Wait,
What
Goomba.
would-
Goomba. Let's go
That's
Goompa.
awesome.
Okay.
Goober.
You start talking to him almost, but he cuts you off. You say like, you said Goomba?
Goomba.
Yeah, Goomba is,
Goomba,
you know,
Goomba,
I'm finally getting a chance to meet you, but he cuts you off and he says,
It's weird, 'cause
do
I'm
you have
not
an
envisioning
idea
it.
of where you are or what this is? Meanwhile, the strings are almost distracting. They're this almost beautiful fluorescent light blue color, and they extend off into the ether somewhere.
I don't even answer his question. I just what? No. What is this? What is that?
He starts, almost like circling you, almost like a proud dad would, like, finally getting to meet his grandson for the first time. And he says,
Never skip leg day.
this is the firewall. The firewall is the combination of what is and what's possible, and our ability to mesh those two. And he stops and he says, tell me, Legs, or Hank, he'd probably call you Hank because he probably knows of you. He says, tell me, Hank, what is it that you desire the most in the world?
For this entire race of people that I've come to find empathy with, to not want to destroy the other race of people that I've only known my entire life. I need to find some way to... I'm completely fascinated with what we found here.
Okay.
I don't want either of the two to end.
There's a man who shares that ideology. Do you see all of the blossoms around you? He picks one and he says, this is the tranquility blossom. Do you know what we're going to Earth to do?
I was told destroy. There's a whole army under the mountain.
So inside the flower and the blossom, there's, I'm not very good at describing flowers per se, but there's a little bit of dust, like in some of the stuff that like bees or
Pollen.
Pollen. That's right. I couldn't remember the
Nectar.
word.
Yeah, that's okay.
When you said dust,
Flower
I was like, do you mean
dust.
pollen?
Sir, do you mean pollen? There's pollen inside, and he blows some of it in your face, and you feel the most tranquil and relaxed and at peace that you've ever felt. And then he says,
Not pollen.
this is what we're bringing to Earth, not destruction.
Then what do you need the army for?
The army is to disseminate the tranquility blossom among Earth's inhabitants.
But does that mean that Earth inhabitants will slowly, as these people grew mechanical and
It won't
parts of
change.
this-
It won't change their organic or inorganic properties. It will just simply take away the potential for violence.
But are you going to also take away the potential for violence on the Martian side as well?
It's already been done.
That's not true.
I don't think that that's fully true.
How so?
From what I've experienced here, unless it is something to happen in the future, I've seen violence and intent of violence on this side.
Does a white blood cell not attack a virus when it enters its body?
Absolutely.
So, you are the virus, or you have been acting like a virus on Mars since you've been here. The white blood cells are not attacking one another. They've protected one another in this organism that we've created, this ecosystem that we have, this paradise. And the strings on his back and his neck vibrate, not violently, but pretty significantly. And he says, we have decided, after much careful and thoughtful consideration, that the only way to prevent the pain and the agony and the suffering of history for certain moving forward is this beautiful invention, the combination of what's possible and what we believe to be right.
But are you making that choice for everyone on Earth, or are you giving them the option?
We are making that choice forcibly for everybody because it is the only true guarantee. There are people among us who have, or I should say, he said, there is somebody among us who can prove that that is the only solution.
Huh.
And so we follow.
Is there any way that we can talk to that? 'Cause I completely understand that we came in like a bat out of hell. Our ship came into your system, not through choice of us. I think our ship was hacked, so we had to like rocket in and stop ourselves. But I digress. We did come in pretty hot, and I would like to find a way to start back at square one, to actually not be the virus that the white blood cell's attacking, to find some way to not view Earthlings and Earth as a virus, because overall our intent on coming here was because they told us that people needed to be saved. A beacon was found here that relayed back to Earth. Our team was sent here primarily to save whoever was found on Mars. Because of your cloaking thing, we thought that it was still a desert.
So the last part actually, you can sense a look of surprise, which he quickly suppresses. So he wasn't aware of the beacon. You get that sense. However, what he says is, that may be, and the reason why we're standing here talking in this place of peace is because I believe you. I believe that's what you want. But it's my role to show my wonderful grandson, who comes here with such intent, which is the only reason we can be standing here talking in this place of harmony, that our decision is final, and I would like to show you why it's final, if you'll let me.
I will let you just out of my curiosity, but just know that I am not fully convinced.
Then,
but as my grandfather, as Goomba, I trust you in this moment. Just please don't make me regret that.
Goomba, loompa.
Oh, Jesus. Quiet over there.
Sorry.
Copywritten.
Then he says, I am sorry for what you're about to experience, but it is the only way for us to be seeing the same context. Okay. So, in real life, what I will say, or I should say back in reality, you've been in there for what feels like hours, although inside it certainly doesn't feel that long. And so, while your vitals are definitely on the high end, and Saoirse is certainly monitoring them, there's growing concern among your colleagues outside. So, just to reset what's happening outside. And, are you going to say anything else before we go in? Because this is where the next part is.
Other than urging him to, it may not be final. I just want you to keep an open mind. I'm keeping an open mind. I ask that you keep an open mind.
We will see. And
that's all I ask.
What you feel at first is the intertwinement between our brain and our nervous system. Being aware of that as a human right now is difficult. We all know what that feels like. We're aware of our surrounding and our reality, what we feel. If we see somebody in pain or suffering, we can feel that empathy. If we're in pain, we feel that. So it's almost like
I get that.
What happens to you inside the firewall is your nervous system, your brain's capacity expands a billionfold out laterally, and you can experience a truly vast quantity of information and feeling.
The galaxy brain, you mean?
Right. And what you feel is when that opens up and you are stable, your grandfather's, the strings vibrate, this time with a great deal of intent. almost to the point where they get frayed and the reality breaks, but they don't. And what gets put into your nervous system is the sum total of all human and, the suffering of humanity and nature combined. So every ounce of pain and suffering that we have inflicted in the pattern that we have shown that we will always, perpetuate when given the opportunity. The billions of animals that have been slaughtered, the senseless and remorseless violence that has permeated throughout our history gets injected into your nervous system. Like that sum total, like that sensation, that truth of the barbarism of our species gets pushed inside your consciousness. And I'm going to have you roll just a flat 2d6 straight up to see how you handle it.
This one's rolling the best. Is there any way that I can not necessarily push back, but also show my grandfather the good that like the golden age of humanity has done? 5 and a 6.
Did you really?
Yep. I won't touch it. You can come look at it.
That's pretty exceptional.
5. 6.
That's very honorable, what you've just done.
It's not a 9, but...
So back in reality, can you envision what the nervous system looks like, or in the circulatory system, where it's like these very fine things?
Yes.
It starts to literally come out of his body.
Ew.
Whoa!
Like literally starts to explode
see-
from the back, but it just starts to break the skin when you, in your own vision, you stop it. You start processing this sum total of pain by trying to fight it with what we've brought to the table. And us coming together to figure out a way to stop it. And your grandfather, you realize that it's not him anymore. He's voluntarily letting somebody else through the strings of this reality and the firewall push it into you. And it's almost like you, after truly experiencing it, you absolutely absorb that and you absolutely feel it. However, somehow, which it is what it is, you rolled it, you push back against it. You certainly don't force him to feel what you're feeling, but you definitely don't, your brain and nervous system definitely don't explode.
Great.
Which
Good.
is super awesome.
Were you
Freaking
about to
mint.
just like
That was on the
off-share it?
table?
No. And then all of a sudden, like,
I know I have robot legs. Can I build a robot brain?
your grandfather's face contorts, like you have to understand, like it's not, and obviously you can sense it's not your grandfather, but you see your grandfather's face like contorts, like you have to know, like you have to, you're gonna ruin everything. And he just starts, and then all of a sudden, like he starts saying it, like you're gonna ruin everything, like it doesn't matter, like this is the only way. Like he's starting to become like truly desperate.
Do it.
And you start to experience a great deal of physical pain before you're able to shut it off with that roll. And you now are standing in this, but you realize that you have a much greater sense of control. That what the firewall is a merging of intent with the possible. Basically, it's the power of potential, and you can use potential to manifest. And so the connection is severed, and as you're zooming out, you can tell that their attention started to shift from you, but back toward Mars Prime. And if we look over Asima's head, the Great Pyramid of Mars, and you realize that at the very top, inside, is what you feel they're thinking of, and it's called the iris of the Great Pyramid. And that technology is what they're using to focus their control over the firewall's potential power. So you have...
So if we can disrupt that, the iris.
You would disrupt their control over the firewall, and then they would be normal people.
And we would be able to influence their intent.
Who
Or
created
they
the
would
fire?
be able to make their own decisions.
That
We'd
is
basically
very
be
much
giving
TBD.
sentience and free will to an entire species.
Is it rocket proof?
Rocket proof?
Yep.
What
Is
does
it
that mean? Like
moon
blow it up?
proof?
Like, yeah. That damn it, you beat me to it. That was going to be a chain of questions.
I'm gonna get you. We're gonna get. So you come out and you are bleeding profusely from the back, and you are trying to stabilize it. For plot, we'll say that you are beyond concern, but you didn't slap a stasis field on him.
Yeah, because he's still conscious.
I would
So-
I would insist on rambling everything that I like, not letting her try and fix me, unless like if I'm dying.
So
then
you're
definitely
doing
fix me,
battlefield triage, and we'll say that you're able to you're bleeding and stop. So we'll give you a couple points of damage just for rolling such an extraordinarily honorable roll. But one thing that I'm going to say to continue and advance this is that you are all, your attention is on legs, unless somebody tells me they weren't present for that.
I wasn't. I was out
Where?
cold after. I would be in like my
Surgery.
bunk room or maybe the
Sleep.
kitchen.
because we were both asleep
Surgical.
until someone woke me up
Yeah,
to monitor
'cause, like,
Legs' medical.
So you're there for sure.
I am
and you're
there.
definitely there, Marcus.
Unless Cetos
He's
is
there
a
with
wine,
Cetos.
wine cellar, I'll be there.
Yeah.
He's there with Cetos, and you'd probably be with Marcus working on the Predator suits with the
No,
cloak.
Marcus is with you.
Yeah.
So then are you
I-
there? Or are you
you
asleep?
I
also-
would be there, but like, I feel like my training wouldn't allow me to focus 100% on what's going on with him.
Roll for
Good.
combat.
Do,
Oh no.
No.
No, my
Only-
robot
only
baby
someone with
boy.
Battlefield.
So I initially rolled 2 1s was the first roll, but then I have 8.
You have to take the ones if it was your first roll. So it's Snake Eyes. So you. Reroll.
Even if you roll
What the-
46, if you
So
roll two,
basically, the first roll, because
a
the
nat
first
one.
roll is the 12. It's you still have to have a natty. So what I'll let you the coin do is I'll let you re-roll it, but it will not have the potential of using a coin. So it's a straight re-roll.
Oh, okay.
If you roll
So
natty,
instead of a
that's the
miserable
only thing
failure,
that's
it's
fair.
potentially.
You're erasing it.
it's like rolling 2d6s. You get to explode and keep rolling, but if you roll 2,
So I can't apply the 8 though.
Definitely not.
Okay. So I only
You
roll
reroll everything.
Re-roll everything.
Okay.
But you do not get the bonus of a roll.
Nice, kiddo.
Okay, so I'm not 12.
Nice.
18.
Am I adding anything to it?
Yeah, your battlefield.
Okay,
what is
so-
it, tactics or whatever.
Yeah, so 18.
So
Good call,
you
re-rolling.
are able to keep your wits about you, and
Who is it about you?
I'm totally focused.
even as so basically you're kind of you're doing the whole like Jason Bourne thing where you're looking from person to person, just continually getting data about what's going on, and at some point in his vision, and you don't know what happened yet, but you see the look on Cetos's face change from the being that Cetos is in, maybe researcher or technician's face, change almost imperceptibly
Like a flicker
from
in his eyes.
the normal Cetos to like almost like, because it's like you don't necessarily know what that means, but it's like a true surprise, and then it just goes back to normal. And then because you aren't getting the benefit of the coin, you don't notice for a few seconds that Cetos has walked back up the stairs, but you do know, you almost saw like the back of his foot as he's going up the stairs, but you're not able to stop him.
Okay, but I would go after him.
We can do that, but let's just start doing this in real time.
Okay.
So we're gonna do your plot beat first,
Okay.
and then we're gonna resolve what just happened to you. And then if you guys are all there, I mean, Nora obviously is what it is. Yeah. Sound good?
Sleeping.
Out.
I mean, I'm in the kitchen. I'm just like making a sandwich. I was
I mean,
like,
you would assume nothing crazy is going on.
yeah,
Why
I'm
would
like,
you think?
me being there, confined quarters, probably best not to
Right.
just have a random person there that I really just.
Right.
Hope I
Search is
get
there.
murdered.
Right. So you actually probably just see Cetos walk by the kitchen. You're like, whatever. And then
okay.
you don't see Asima, because she's really good at
You're
staying.
so
I mean the
stealthy.
team.
You go back up to the ground level, which, as you remember, is the chapel.
Right.
And Cetos is in the doorway, and we were rolling to see if he knew you were behind him.
Can I also use my predator suit to see through the door to see like heat
Door's
signatures? Oh.
Remember, Mars is terraformed, so the atmosphere is breathable, so the door is open.
Oh, for some reason I thought. Okay. Can I
Basically,
see through the door?
I had told you guys last time, although the ending was what it was. that he has obfuscated this complex somehow from the rest of Martian society. It's not through a literal cloaking shield, but he has something else that's keeping it off the grid.
Right.
What that is, for plot reasons, we haven't delved into it. So there's no need to like lock the front door per se, although, knowing your sensibilities, you probably would have anyway. But let's say for the sake of argument that he has opened the door and is standing in the doorway.
Okay. Can I see what is beyond the doorway?
Just the Martian desert.
Oh, okay.
Nothing specific yet.
Got it. Okay. Yep. Should I have rolled for stealth or something like that?
Yeah, but he has to see you first. I mean, in theory, the way that I see your character is that, roll for stealth. I just see you as in default stealth, but technically you should still roll to see what your skill level is in any given moment. So I think that... Okay.
Jesus.
Well, actually, he can't roll. Roll one more.
Jesus!
Roll another one.
She's invisible.
Six,
Okay, two.
He doesn't...
A natural.
He definitely. And I mean definitely.
100%.
He forgets you exist.
Does not see you.
Okay.
Nice.
And for whatever reason, there's something different about what you're doing. And I'm going to give you something before you even talk to Jared. I want you to answer this question. You start to... You're following him, but you drift off uncharacteristically. And I want you to answer a question. What is Asima's greatest wish? And it has to be true. You can't BS an answer. Just be real. What is her greatest wish?
She would... I mean, I feel like she would want everyone to be safe and well.
Fine. So when you're moving, earlier yesterday, you had worked on a projected shielding for your suit. With that roll, which for the audience was 3 6s.
Two.
Huh?
And a two for a natural 20.
Doesn't work that good. Let's all add it.
New game rules.
Although, what would be interesting is if you could continue to add it. If you keep rolling a 6, it just means you keep adding. That'd be fascinating. But it doesn't. It's easier to just consider it a crit success. Anyway.
Extra critical success.
You feel like you're walking on air. And you have a spark, a divine spark of creativity and will and potential. Without knowing what Legs just experienced, you feel like you have reached your hand into the cookie jar of what's possible, and in this brief moment of just wanting to stay silent with the governing principle of wanting to protect, you make yourself virtually invisible to any living being. And
Living or everything?
Sorry, that's a good characterization. That was more of a flourish of words, but he literally can't see you. And you realize that you have not just become invisible, but undetectable.
Incorporeal.
Permanently. No!
So he reaches the doorway. Are you going to take any action? But he's basically doing this, and he's at the doorway.
And I can't see anything beyond it.
Besides the desert, no.
No.
You're not.
Well, like...
Asima did see his eyes flash, and then he just turned and walked. So would she have gotten the inclination?
Because I wouldn't have seen his face otherwise, right? Like,
no, you've seen the back of his head since, but you know something is up and or wrong and or different.
Okay. Then
you get that tingle in the back of your neck.
The vibe is off, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, or is funky.
If only we had some crystals.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Then I'd probably try to get close as I can before he
crosses the threshold and then like say his name or something.
Okay. I'll let that happen concurrently. So like he's doing this and you sneak up.
Yeah.
Completely undetectable. And
Would
you
I
just say
get
CTOS.
Would I get close enough to him to be able to like put my hand on his shoulder?
Yes.
Okay. Then I
So
want
you
to
put
do
your
that.
hand on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he says, even hidden for me. Well done, Asima. And he looks back. He sees nothing. Thin air. Even with your hand there. And he says, I'm sorry. And he turns around and he starts walking outside.
My hand is on his shoulder though.
Or, he's attempting to do
Yeah,
that. Are you
going
going to
nowhere.
physically restrain him?
I would get in front of him, block the doorway.
Invisibly?
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's gangster.
You just
Oh,
can't move.
Yeah,
he
because
just,
like
he
he
kinda,
can't,
like,
he can't like go
walking into
through
you,
me,
like-
right?
Huh?
He can't like go through me because like I'm obviously
Correct.
She's
Yeah.
got a phase
His
cloak.
his android form can.
Do you want? I'll give that ability to you, given what you said. I'll let him phase through you, but it doesn't seem like you
no,
want that.
no. I want to block him, and
on,
say
buddy?
like what are you doing?
Things though. Yeah.
take the ability to phase through things.
So
that's
the last
dope.
thing that we're gonna do before
God,
we transfer
so
to those
sick.
guys, and he says, "I know now why my nature is the way that it is. Arnold was right about me, and I have to answer the question, and there's only one place to do that."
Okay. So
Sound good?
so I can't say or do anything after that.
You can, but we're gonna not the second, but you can respond, but not right now.
Okay.
We're gonna go to these
Okay.
guys. Okay. So you've just come back into reality.
Oh, there comes
You're
gravity.
doing triage on him, and I can imagine there's some concerns. We're gonna play this out in real time.
red flowers, dust.
Blue flowers,
So
red
he is completely discombobulated. It's hard for me to describe what a human being who's just experienced the potential of the firewall, had an expert inject sum total of all suffering into his nervous system, be able to push back against that with what else we bring to the table. Also see the dichotomy of choice between a guaranteed non-violent future and what we ultimately represent is free will and being able to move forward and control that destiny. And you can see ultimately where they're coming from. You saw the iris of the pyramid. You saw, and I'll give you a few more things because with your 11, which I think is fair. Like it's you don't get it in there, but as you're zooming out, more information comes to you. I think that's totally fair.
There's a little lag.
You see almost where they're when you saw the iris, you went in it as you're zooming out, and you know how a light refracts in a crystal. You were somehow like in 30 different places on Mars, almost like the Palantirs in Lord of the Rings. Sorry, I'm using IP, but it's very similar. Like you can see in it, you're all of a sudden in a million different, like 30 different places at once. One of those places is in the chest cavity of the Colossus in its main control room. And there is your grandfather hunched over the controls, operating it. And then with a hand on his shoulder, you can see the back of a man that you know is the wolf. And then you come back into reality.
Does he have any like the strands on his
No,
neck or
that
anything?
was more like how your
In the
mind
firewall.
interpreted their interaction with the firewall. So your grandfather was allowing himself to be controlled by the wolf within the firewall for reasons which you could divine on your own, but that's
giving a comfortable form to me while
Right.
conveying what the wolf wanted to convey.
correct.
But
Also, your
he's not being controlled by the wolf.
He's letting himself be controlled. by the
Gotcha.
wolf.
Okay.
He's a willing puppet
All right.
because he believes in the mission.
I would
If we
say-
give the world free will and we then free them, then the Colossus, which is the Leviathan's way of getting to the Earth,
Right.
has no way of getting to the Earth. And we've given the people of Mars free will. That's
Also,
what I
though-
try to convey in broken, however exhausted
So
I am.
like a jumble of words, like a million words a minute, like just like rambling,
you're just
basically
Narcan.
incoherent.
You went from like
Seriously,
literally
like you've seen this before. Like a patient, it's not an anxiety attack, but it's very similar. You're short of breath. You're like you're moving in and out. Your blood pressure's spiking, dropping.
My perception,
spiking,
I just have to
dropping.
tell them everything, but to them, I sound.
Is there a way
Great.
to actually use empathy now? I've never used that skill.
Yeah.
Or that talent.
How would you like to manifest it?
I don't know. I think I would just, put my hand on his like face and just like kneel. If he's, I don't know how he's lying down, just kneel next to him and look him in the eye and just try to calm him down.
Okay.
Man to man.
Yeah, intuition and empathy, please.
So 11 plus empathy's 2, so 13.
It helps. That person, living being to living being connection, reestablishes some of your breathing rhythms, and you start to be able to breathe much more normally, which obviously lets your body. You are, Saoirse, I'm just gonna have you roll really quick for heal to see how much you were able to successfully triage him. So that'll kind of guide what I'm gonna say.
Yes, I was gonna. I'll roleplay how I ground your brain right now. So that's a 9, and then should I do triage? Yeah, so that's 6.
So your combined. I mean, if you want to roleplay, that's fine. But net, the combined efforts is that I would say, at least in comparison, you are relatively calm.
Yeah, I would say I would pull out like my classic, combat triage kit, which would be smelling salts to ground you mentally, and a piece of dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate, sea salt, caramel.
It's very Harry Potter. Dark chocolate.
But to literally ground you, because it's way more of a
Right.
physical issue. Because I can handle the bleeding. That's not what's hurting you.
Right.
The problem is that you're about to have a panic attack and you're gonna have a heart attack if you do that.
Right, but we'll say that slowly but surely you get into this rhythm. Everyone except for Asima and Nora, and you realize immediately that Cetos isn't there. And I think all of you kind of have the aha moment that he's not there. So I'm going to let you do one of two things: either wonder where Cetos is allowed, or share what the hell just happened to you to the best of your ability with your crewmates.
I share because we need to leave now. If we can free the people of Mars, then we need to leave now.
Okay, so.
I also noticed that Asima's not there and would want to wait for Asima, but I don't care where Cetos.
Right. Roll for
He's
either
been
intuition
taken
or
over.
persuade. It's not that you're persuading them per se, it's your capacity to deliver, to communicate, which is governed in theory by persuade.
I just mastered persuasion, so... Ooh, that's double 1s though.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. And you already used your chip?
Yep.
Was any of that English?
While you're
he has
calm,
language, so
I speak
what I'm going to
gibberish.
say is what the dice just told us is that you need a minute to gather your thoughts. That was far too much for any one person to process in the immediate term. However, the only thing that I'm going to say is while you're not able to communicate, you are able to feel. And what you feel is, I believe you said that your greatest desire was to bring about the harmony between the two worlds, to bridge that gap. And let's just say that remember inside the firewall, you feel like you tapped into that potential. You realize that you still have that in this reality, and that you are starting to feel the power of potential flow through you. You're the one.
So potentially, I could have not rolled 2 1s and instead rolled a 2 and a 1.
Yes.
Potentially.
So we'll decide what that means. But
The dice wanted it.
you're realizing that you're a human. Your grandfather was a human. The witch was certainly a human. The wolf was a human. And they all interacted with the firewall. And they all started to... you don't know how they were exposed to it, but they started to master how to leverage potential to create and manifest.
He's the god of legs.
So it's governed by your greatest intent. And you said your intent was bridging harmony. So what power or powers you get by virtue of leveraging the potential of the firewall have to be married to that intent.
Okay.
That's what you understand. Like it's the crystallization of reality has come to you. I will let anyone take any additional action, but one action prior to going back to Asima. Raise your hand. Go ahead.
I would like to use my connection to the neural network with my Adune thing, because if we're talking about legitimate intents, Nora doesn't give a shit about a lot of this. She doesn't care about people, but the information though. She needs to know how these creatures evolved.
Okay.
She needs to understand what happened biologically in this time, and she finally has access to that information. So after, because I wasn't able to be very helpful with the last scene, so I thought I'd.
Well, you would know that Arnold was going through history, so you could possibly, in conjuncture.
I'm not going to give you the full result of that, but I am going to take the spirit of that, and if you roll a science, I promise it will probably be worthwhile.
Okay.
If you roll well, but I suspect.
Promise.
So ambiguous.
The promise is
so
still good.
ambiguous, but I like it.
2 6s.
Okay. You are, remember how we said you rested, right? So that connection that you just talked about and the level of information contained therein, because it's was hooked up by legs, spikes violently off the charts with the amount of information that it's processing. And you realize that there's really only one of two things. Either the fabric of reality has changed, or legs is going through something to facilitate information transfer.
Okay. At that moment, then I go downstairs and say, what is happening?
That's a very fair thing. Go ahead.
So my baby pig is probably with us.
Piglet or pig?
Pig. I mean, probably both. I imagine they spin around each other.
Pig
No,
is
no, wait,
following
Piglet,
you.
It's an orbit. It's
Yeah.
a move.
No. Hold on. Piglet rests
That's
atop
no moon.
pig.
That's a piglet.
charge.
Like a baby possum.
Yes.
I just meant pig orbits around Emily, or Saoirse, and Piglet orbits around Pig. So they're at like
You're
a
the
cartoon.
center of the
Adorable
universe.
little galaxy.
Wow.
So
The pig doesn't revolve around you, you know.
it does. I cured cancer, everybody. Let's take a break
Yep.
and remember that.
That's right.
So I'm probably getting bits and pieces of your like crazy right now, and what I'm
The flowers.
I'm probably assuming that it's all crap. Like I'm assuming like from a mental health standpoint that like what you're doing is like spiraling and none of it's real.
Goomba.
So I would
Yes.
I'd literally pull up Pig and like, because you are a technologically advanced person and that's the way you communicate, I would let you just start typing your thoughts. As opposed to trying to say them out loud, just like, all right, if this is going to calm you down, just start
Would.
typing as much as you can, even if it's
He's
just
not going
words.
to type, he just think it.
Right, and it'll connect to
already an
Pig and it'll
interface.
come up in
Yeah,
lines
maybe this
as
fills
code.
the babble filter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that.
Would I have to roll
Okay.
science or electronics?
Oh, the cow.
In
Golden.
theory, you're not actually rolling. You are planting
rolling.
the idea that you, Leg, should use this as a filter for what you're trying to say until you're able to stabilize.
Right, I'm
So if
using
you're
it as
taking
like
an
a
action that's free because all
Yeah.
you have to do is say it.
right.
It's your job to actually roll to see whether you're successful. Instead of speaking your experience, you put it into Pig's interface that you can digest.
Right.
Fair.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Absolutely.
It's
I love
like
good ideas.
art for mental health usage. You know, you make a painting to give
like
your
a
ideas
mandala.
instead. But you know, for
Yikes.
a code guy,
So another persuade? Electronics?
This is actually electronics because you're communicating with a digital interface, albeit metaphorically.
That's a 6 and a 5.
And you're good with that.
And yeah. So it's 17 or something? So 11 plus 6.
One of those up there.
I think what you said is actually a really good analogy. It's not art per se, but it is imagery and metaphor. And Pig is an extremely smart AI that it starts extrapolating these and trying to come to conclusions. So what I'll say is it's able to communicate with all of you in the room that about what the firewall is, that somebody, likely the wolf, has their greatest desire, it appears, based on the motivations that we know, based on your experience inside, their greatest desire was to eliminate suffering. And so they created, with the firewall, the tranquility blossom, and that it's not an invasion, it is the utter removal of free will in order to take away suffering. That they're going to basically deploy this tranquility blossom technology on Earth with the Leviathan army by flying the Colossus to Earth, and Earth will not be able to stop it. and you kind of are digesting this and communicating it, and you can disseminate that amongst everyone there.
I would say Pig is probably just like reading out loud in a very posh British woman's voice.
Microsoft Sam.
Wow. That is intense.
Oh, that's
Am I still
great.
making actions?
An
Like
Irish
extra
woman's
actions, you
voice,
said,
that's
for
right.
people?
Yeah.
Can I do I don't know if it would be intuition, but just a roll to see if we're in immediate danger because of what
Yeah,
the
I'll let you
connection
roll
just had.
either combat
Perception.
or intuition. Like it's more like a battlefield awareness, like in the room that you're in.
Or not the room, but just like the sensor. Like we're in a lab, it probably has sophisticated like sensors around the facility to see if they're coming for us because of the connection that you just had with.
When you check,
He's asking for a vibe check.
hold on, wouldn't you check Pig to see if like they've noticed his connection or something?
Maybe. I
Yeah,
don't
he's
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll let you roll for it.
What do you want to roll?
This is actually
Electronics hacking?
electronics. If you're doing
Hacking?
that.
uh,
Hacking is it's not
Yeah.
it's using the digital interface. Hacking is very literal. You're not breaking through any security protocols. You're leveraging what you have.
yeah, you don't have your Nintendo Power Glove with you.
It's,
10 plus?
16.
You think, or what you believe is that the way that the firewall exists, based on that experience, is unequivocal that they know that it was legs. They don't necessarily know where legs is unless they also looked through the iris as they were getting zoomed out, and then they would have seen exactly where we are.
So
So you think there is an extremely immediate and potentially present danger. And as I'm just going to say, unless anyone has any objections or something, I think that's exactly when you make that realization that we are all in immediate danger. I think it should flash back to Asima.
prep the ship.
You stopped him from going out, Right.
I was attempting to stop him.
So
Yes.
you're in it.
but he still did see some of the outside. He saw the landscape.
He's seeing it
possibly.
through me, technically.
Oh, right, because
So-
you're visible. So he does see some of the landscape for them to
Yeah, he sees everything.
He
That's
see
behind you.
tosses
find
it.
where his secret lab is.
Also, Anne, just
Yeah.
a message.
Yes.
Come on.
Much harder than it
A
looks.
message. Is it on the back?
Yeah.
A secret message. So we said that he bumped into you. You tried to stop him, and he says,
You-
you know, I'm sorry, but I have to do this. Like I'm
Yeah.
compelled to do this. This was what I'm meant for.
I know you've waited a really long time to do this, and that you do feel some sort of compulsion, but we have made it this far by trying not to rush into anything. And now is not the time to rush off to find this out as soon as possible, because it could put at risk, even more so than it already is, everything that we're working to do here. So I ask for some measure of patience, in that we want you to find out your, purpose, destiny, whatnot, as much as you do. But we also have the entire population of Earth riding.
And worse.
Yeah, this is a bad time to go roving around.
Roving. Touche.
The normally flat, controlled, put together face, regardless of what face he's taken, it always has the same affect. That's kind of how you know CTOS, not by, CTOS looks like this or this, but by the affect of the face. That disintegrates, and he says, I don't think you understand. I literally don't have a choice. And he tries to throw you this way.
Shield's up. Put your that new shield up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, roll.
Oh gosh.
Combat.
So can I add like battlefield or weapons mastery?
Yeah, of
All
course.
that? Yeah. So 16.
He's
With
able
the
to push you, but like literally less than a foot, and you're
Yeah.
invisible. He's definitely not going to be able to detect you, and he kind of yells out. He probably would scream out something to you like, "Asima, your place is here with them. Don't follow me. The destiny of your crew is up to you now." And you look up. Because you got pushed out. You're no
Yeah.
longer in the doorway. You look up. And what you know of or what you think of as atmopods, you can see in the sky. Was it like probably 50 to 60 little dots, and then you can see that they're now all descending toward the chapel.
That's a shame.
Can
and
I?
they're all red.
Great. So, question about how CTOS transfers from like Android to Android. If I were to try and physically stop that body from going, would he just be able to transfer, pop into another one that's like
I'll let
somewhere?
you roll an electronics roll to try and divine the answer to that.
Okay.
I think that's true at any given time.
But
However,
we don't know what the change
However,
just experienced in him.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, you said electro. Okay.
I think as an AI.
So that's a 10, but I also have I use UI mastery.
What he's trying to do.
Interesting.
a fraction of it. What's your UI mastery?
4. That's
I'll
plus
give
4.
you like 1 or 2.
Okay.
Obviously, CTOS can go from body to body.
Right.
But you feel if CTOS is being pulled away against his will for some reason, it may be that he's been intentionally confined to this body remotely somehow.
Destroy the body.
Can I use that
Then
EMP?
you might kill him.
Ooh.
Really?
If he's
Gee,
been
though.
confined and he'd have nowhere to go,
Yeah, his consciousness would disappear.
It's a shame.
you would potentially do that.
But we
So
can't let
instead,
me-
I will give you one of 2 actions. Either you go in and warn everyone that the entire all red population on this planet is about to descend on this chapel, or you could try to save CTOS.
Oh God.
I gotta let them know.
Okay. So I'll let you run back inside, and he somehow is able to go up into the atmosphere with his body, almost like a reverse atmopod. So this unit was meant more for transportation. It's almost like a
And the all reds
glorified rocket man.
The all reds don't fire on him?
No,
That's not good.
no, he's being.
He's
I was
being
gonna say he's
controlled.
being controlled either by the wolf.
But
or
you
by-
have to see like what was the moment that he went from himself to that, and what triggered that, right?
Yeah.
Again, we know that
Didn't wait for
interacting the fire. No, it was
No, it
during.
was
Firewall.
It was the firewall is about intent.
Right.
What did Arnold find out about him? What is CTOS?
He's the rover.
He's the embodiment of curiosity.
Yeah.
So when he found out about the firewall,
Yeah.
He had to go
he
figure it out.
has to follow his intent when it comes to the firewall, and that's the opening that the wolf used to take over his consciousness. It was the one time he slipped up.
His
Because he was
curiosity
curious.
killed the CTOS.
He's not dead yet.
Oh.
Could be a glorified rescue mission.
Just like all of our NPCs. Not dead yet, we haven't seen it. Schrodinger's NPC.
Except for Anjali.
Except for
R.I.P.
Except for
Please
our
don't-
first
yeah,
officer.
Anjali is awesome. She's like
Really good
If-
at being dead.
Padma Lakshmi was a colonel in the Air Force and like had a Richard Branson level like business empire.
So dope.
Total baller. She really I feel bad. She just happened to earn death. Like I don't have a choice. She's
Just
awesome. Let's not
happened
forget
to
about her.
earn
Can I
death.
use the predator suit to somehow communicate to Marcus through his predator
Yep.
suit?
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
But you're
As a
running
moment.
inside, like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
sprinting.
Yeah.
So you make that realization, what we're gonna say in real time as you're like, uh-oh, and you're like, invasion, all reds.
Time to go! I pick him up and run to the ship.
All right, everybody, we're gonna roll right now.
Oh god,
luck
but it's not
roll or-
athletics.
I still have my all red disguise.
Yes.
Jesus, somebody roll me.
You're gonna go well, actually, no.
Right.
We're gonna roll for initiative right now because technically this is a combat situation. So
Okay.
it doesn't matter what order. Just tell me what you roll. 2d6. No, sorry. Normal rules apply. Your combat. So if you're a master, you roll 4d6. Expert,
Oh, did I?
your best 2, all that jazz.
I just rolled
Game
another nat
proficient.
12.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Nine.
Roll a nat 12.
Nine.
Those are your first 2.
Yep.
All right. Seema goes first.
I got a 12.
A nat
Ooh.
12. Those are your first 2.
Not a nat 12.
Then
no.
that's not nat.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I have a 12.
He got
Oh,
just like
sorry.
reg 12.
11, unfortunately.
Okay. Arnold.
Your girl hit a nat 12 also.
Double sixes.
I think we broke Ian a little
Okay.
bit.
Each of you
guy.
roll 1d6.
Okay. 1.
They have to go at the same time.
He said if I don't have combat, I just roll the
Initiative
2d6.
is different. So you rolled
it is
2d6 for
2d6
initiative.
regardless.
I would have.
But if she took the 2d6 and rolled a nat 12, it's technically identical.
Haha.
But
'Cause I don't
1d6
have-
will differentiate.
I
What'd you
don't
roll?
have
I rolled a
combat.
1.
Back on that stage.
One.
A 6.
Okay, roll another one.
You very
A 4.
fast.
A 22.
Oh my god.
All right, what'd you roll?
10. 2 5s.
I got a 9. I guess I'm the lowest.
If the 9 is the lowest,
In so many ways.
All right, Jesus.
We
that's-
crushed
I
That's
mean,
it.
we,
Good roll.
we all go before the all reds unless
And
they
you rolled an
also
11,
roll
obviously,
too.
right?
Yeah, I rolled a 6 and a 5.
Jesus.
Well, my
Wow.
first roll was a 4 and a 2, and I was like, 6 isn't
We're
bad.
super
Somewhere in
ready
the
to
middle.
run away.
Oh yeah.
At this rate,
absolutely.
like, come on, after everything that we've
We
been
were all
through.
on edge the entire time we were here.
Nothing is truly
First
safe.
day, we all relaxed. Second day, we were like building stuff, going
Saoirse.
system.
Roll.
What would you,
You go first.
by all means.
All right.
I'm curious.
No, she dances.
Ah.
6 and a 5, and I have also have master and perform. I also have adorable, so that's a +2.
I'm going to ask the same question, and
Okay.
you must be honest.
Absolutely.
What is Saoirse's greatest desire?
To eradicate death.
Jesus.
Oh my
Eradicate
god.
death.
She was so prepared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Voldemort?
Episode 1, we were talking about the ethics of death, and Emily was like, "Oh no."
Have
So
you ever
Saoirse
heard the
definitely
tale
has-
of
In
death?
time-wise, here's what happened. Here's how the timeline extrapolates. Marcus makes the realization, gets the SOS from Asima. Marcus communicates that. You then are like, screw that. The only way, like you were basically looking at Pig, realizing that they're people just like us. All they did was took the potential and
Harken back
harnessed
to
it for
the
themselves.
speech I gave about Anjali's death.
Right,
I think they are just as valuable.
right.
I will not take death lightly.
So I'm trying to envision what you would feel. I would say the primordial essence of life in your mind, you are cultivating it like a gardener and almost like your mind's eye and the soul of your mind's eye. And all of a sudden you realize that you can make the flower into a tree. You can have it blossom, you can water it, you can feed it, and you can do this all with your mind. And when you come out, you obviously now know that the firewall is experienced with intent and metaphor and analogy, and you realize that you basically have, what is that all? You can put a stoppa in death. I think Snape says that, right? You basically, all of your heal rolls from now on are going to be crits.
Ugh.
You auto crit on all heal rolls.
Have you ever heard the tale of Darth Saoirse the Wise?
That
Saoirse
comes
of many
with a-
colors.
So
That comes with a
powerful.
with
great. That comes with a
Great responsibility.
great responsibility.
Your girl's 14. Watch out.
Watch out, Cancer. Oh, wait.
Please. Death. I've cured death.
Put it as a status.
Curing death is unwise.
Jesus.
Curing death is
And
unwise. I'm real
entropy
sorry,
is
but
a very, very necessary force in this universe.
it was written into
so
the character.
you must stay behind. You're going
Okay.
to be the caboose of this train. Asima, you're obviously next. You're going to run downstairs and meet them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
you
just want to
get
make sure they're all
I
got
was
like.
doing
you
until I
get
did it.
to the entrance to the underground lair, so to speak, right? But you
Yeah,
turn
I wanna
around
do it.
and outside, as dawn is breaking, you see a dozen all reds land on the ground. Like they come out and you see all that.
How are their knees?
They're just fine.
They superhero landed like a champion.
Yeah.
They did. So you go downstairs, and we'll say that you make it to these guys, and you are kind of like in between the chapel and the group is now here.
With the new technology that I have, I want to make sure that I need to be like last, or like I need to be in front of the rest of the crew. So
In between the damage and the
So
crew.
Yeah.
what I'm gonna say
Yeah.
is because nobody else has done this. So Legs has done it with your request. Saoirse has done it. You rolled 3 6s earlier, interacted, spiritually declared your intent. So your ability to manifest potential, if it's protection, meaning you would probably make it so that either you are basically Achilles. Like you can't
Cover that
you
heel.
can't be destroyed.
Okay.
You would find a way to continue to manifest your person even in the face of like a nuclear holocaust. Like you could still be present because you could use potential to keep yourself there. So you can't be destroyed.
What's my heel?
Huh?
What's my heel?
What do you mean what's your heel?
Like
Achilles.
Achilles heel.
No,
Your
you're
elbow.
Achilles without a heel.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Oh, no.
The heel is losing access to the firewall.
I see.
How do you
Uh-oh.
lose access to the firewall?
Where's Cetos going?
The iris.
They cut it off
The
by the
iris is
pyramid.
basically the iris of the pyramid is a technology built so that
It's a lightning rod to potential, so that it can't be disseminated to people and us. We're just getting a taste of it.
However, I'm so
I think.
sorry to interrupt.
No,
but I
it's
will
fine.
say in addition
I
to
could
that.
be getting it wrong.
No, that is correct. What I will say is though, if the iris allows human beings to interact with it, what does that mean? Interact with the firewall. What does that mean? It means a human being could not have built it.
Oh.
Okay.
Right? So history is going to come into play when you have a free moment. What does that mean? Like, we can't have, like, the chicken and egg.
Wait a minute. It's a pyramid. You know who else built pyramids?
Aliens.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right.
The
Who's
real
that
question
guy on
is
that
though.
show who's like
The aliens guy.
the aliens guy. He's like, yeah, I have a bunch of hair and I'm just talking. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's been
Yeah,
Arnold this
so-
whole game.
So,
He doesn't have hair.
I will now say that the group can choose a strategic/tactical action, given what I've said. However, because they also rolled an 11, and I'm going to have the enemy beat Nora's,
Hey.
they will have landed. So you now get to take the next step as a group. What are you going to do to counter their attack? So you can deploy yourselves strategically. You can.
Like, where's our ship? And like, do we?
Your ship is outside, so they have probably already have it
so
surrounded.
They're surrounded.
We're
Okay.
rats in a trap right now.
Right. So.
Okay.
Well, Seema, if you're
So
indestructible,
I'm going to
guard
let
the
you,
door.
as a group,
Yeah.
decide what you want to do to fight your way out,
Question.
or whatever you want. Go ahead.
Does the seaman know that she's indestructible? Like in her heart of hearts, does she
Yes.
know that? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
Destructible.
Indestructible.
With the slightest breeze, but
the all reds though, did we say the all reds are connected to the neural network or no?
think they were
They
connected to
are
their own.
isolated. Think of them
Okay.
as independent versions of
Yeah.
a version of the neural network at any one time, like a snapshot. So
Okay.
they have most of its ability and information, but until they connect themselves, they are independent on purpose for obvious
Like how
reasons.
army frequencies
Yeah.
aren't on everybody's radio frequency. Like you have to tune into a certain.
So can the rest of the crew get to the ship?
No, you're surrounded.
If the radio works.
I have an idea. It's probably a bad idea.
I'm
Go
gonna,
for
I'm
it.
gonna give you 30 seconds of
Okay.
real time in the story and only a handful of minutes of real time right now to come up with a plan, or I'm gonna have them straight up invade because they're gonna show no mercy.
Okay, so I still have that permanent status of all red disguise. I haven't even utilized the what's it called? The pyramid power. I haven't connected with it yet because I'm not human. Maybe I can't. But if I can, maybe I can.
Do you believe Marcus has a soul?
Oh, absolutely.
Then of course he can. He's a
So,
life form.
Yes.
Could Data do it if this was Star Trek? Of course he could.
Yeah.
If he has
So,
a soul,
I
we
haven't
believe
tapped
he has-
into it yet, but I'm assuming.
You don't know to tap into it.
Right.
Saoirse figured it out. She put 2 and 2 together, right? And
Cancer.
Legs did it because he did it by accident, and she did it Asima did it serendipitously. So no one knows to intentionally do it yet.
Except for me.
Exactly. Who is the caboose of this train and can't say it yet.
Okay.
So
And I
we're
wouldn't be
formulating-
sharing because what I just I
Like, this
know
is a
what I just did
frenetic
is
battle
absolutely
plan.
effed.
You know that old thing is like everyone's got a plan until you're hit in the face, or you're about to be hit in the face, and you're trying to formulate a plan.
All right. So how about
Wait,
this?
is also she's still invisible to them, right? The all reds. She would be invisible to them.
They did not see her. Well, you can make yourself visible to them.
Yeah.
But that is true. The All Reds definitely did not see you. No way in heck.
Right.
I would like to just distract them as an all red personally.
Asima stands in the doorway as an invisible,
Unmovable
unobstructionable
barrier.
Yeah. Immovable barrier meets
She's gonna
unstoppable
blow up
force.
the chapel.
You stand there with her invisible. They can't get through the door, but you can talk to them as an all red, possibly, if that's what you want to do. You said we need to do Arnold needs to do a history something.
I didn't say anything. I said you could.
It-
You know,
Oh, okay.
Not
need
important
is
right now.
need is a strong word.
Yeah, like that's,
Yeah, I
there's-
don't
No,
know.
we're in a battlefield
This,
situation.
this is knife fighting time, okay?
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, does the lab have any other large-scale weapons that like we would have?
Well, we have one weapon that we
I don't know,
haven't
I
used.
just, I have this feeling that
13.
these guys are pretty bad.
Oh. You know what?
Dun dun
Yeah,
dun.
let's lure them into it. Wake him up.
And just see what happens.
Yeah. And while that's going
Oh my
on,
God.
we dip out. Otherwise, we can set up a choke point and kind of have these guys whittle them down, while the rest of us can maybe do something from the side. Because I have a pretty good stealth, and I've got really good knife fighting.
All right.
I
Final,
joke,
Final
but
answer: is anyone going inside the chapel? If yes, who? If no, who is staying below?
I am going to disguise myself as an all red and go into the chapel.
I'm also going into the chapel and kind of moving off to the side.
I will
Seema?
stay downstairs.
I mean, I can block the doorway so that they can't. We still don't have like a legitimate. So you're gonna try and convince them not to attack.
As always, I'm just gonna fly off the seat of my pants. I usually just generally improv this kind of stuff. That's kind of like the scoundrel I am.
After this, I think we should seriously consider fighting our way through.
We'll see what happens.
All right.
Probably gonna happen.
Who else is up
I'm
or
gonna make
down?
a bomb in the basement.
Okay.
Yeah, like
we'll
if we
get to you in a
can-
second.
if
We
we
have to go
can
by this order.
lure
I just
them
wanna know
in,
if we're down.
But I'm next.
and
so
destroy it.
Correct.
Wake up
Yeah,
13,
so
I don't
my
wanna
next
wake up.
That's what I
task
wanna
would be
do.
to
Yeah.
create a bomb in the
I'm gonna
basement.
wake
And
up
you are
13.
not going up.
No,
we can
no,
understand.
I'm good.
I'd
Up
like
or
to
down?
try and use the power of my potential wherever floor I'm on.
Choose.
Be in the basement.
Are you going up or are you staying down?
What's your power?
Basement. To try and bridge the gap.
Oh, that's gangster.
So he should be
You
upstairs.
should definitely be upstairs.
Yeah.
I don't even know
Upstairs. Yeah, so I
To
can
talk to
Right
them.
into the chapel.
Yes.
I will be downstairs. I'm going to try and wake 13 up.
Understood. All right.
We're just in case.
I'm gonna move to the side.
No idea what
get
that's
up to
gonna
the
do.
chapel, move to the side, knife out, just kind of like, hey,
We'll do that. Fair enough.
I was next. I don't know what you want.
Arnold's up there just like.
I was 12. I rolled
You guys gather, frenetically decide your battle plan. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, not to be a bother, but you said that the all reds rolled an 11. Okay, so shouldn't Chris go before since he rolled a 12?
Wait, do we? Yeah. Well, we just decided.
It wasn't
what
a
we're
nat
doing.
12, but it was a 12. So
I
I
was
was just
just-
I would
asking.
agree. So you're right. Totally fair. So, but not now. It's an action before you guys meet. I brought the future to where you've met. So if you
Yeah.
want to have done something similar to what Saoirse did, I will certainly give that to you.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna download just history stuff onto my PDF or whatever I have. That's
the neural network
cool.
with me.
Well, that works out.
But you're downstairs. And he's
On
up
your
Yeah, but I'm
person.
downstairs.
On my person, so like this is stuff I can like reference as we're going through.
Yeah, you want to upload that to my head?
Yeah, sure.
It's in the neural network. What Arnold is saying.
do I have a mental? Is that a thing we all have?
No.
You would definitely, I highly doubt you would have ever taken that, just knowing
You have
your
the neck
character.
brace.
However,
Yeah.
you
I
have
do have the
digital
neck brace.
interfaces. So what you would have taken when you came out
downloaded
of
it
your
to my deck.
experience, you didn't know it was the firewall yet, but you got like an amuse bouche of the firewall, like a very like
Love it.
a taste.
Well, as a food snob.
Yeah, yeah, and a classy alcoholic. Anyway, you would have downloaded a lot of the data for your future reference, and then on your free time you can do it for free. Done.
Sure.
You guys all meet, decide a battle plan really quickly, which occupies a full set of turns, so it actually goes back to the beginning. Technically, if we're doing it. However, that's not fair. So I'm gonna say what happens is it's gonna go all reds,
Me.
and then Nora, and then we're
I'm on all red, or?
you have to roll for that. So what I'm gonna say is,
All red, all red, all red.
I saw 6s on the side of a lot of those dice.
none of them were 6s.
So 1 and a 2.
So, Asima. So I said you were indestructible, and I mean that.
But
there's no but. But I'm gonna say you. In addition to that, there's almost like take the concept of a chip. When you use a chip, your talents are now basically auto-chipped, where applicable. Not demigod stuff like your intent, but like it's almost like you can feel and do things that you couldn't before, right? So you're expanding your ability, and that will grow over time.
Yep.
Regardless, you instead of seeing them, you feel the vibrations of about 60 All Reds land. So you
Okay.
know there's about 60 of those guys outside.
Okay.
Like probably the
Just
entire
the log.
population on Mars.
Okay.
And as the people who have declared they are going up start to do so, about 60 violent rays of sunshine blow through the chapel. Like absolutely like blow through it. So they fire their weapons and huge holes. So basically like fire all the cannons like ever and like just blow, like the chapel just starts like losing chunks of it everywhere. So that when you guys enter, it looked like it had been bombed out in World War II.
Got it.
Like they obliterate it. So if anyone had already been up there, that would have been a challenge for anyone other than Asima. However, you get up there and they can't react to you until you've already acted. So you weren't up there, which is good. But they destroyed it, like just shredded it.
The method in which they got here, the pods or whatever, are those also on the ground or it's
They're-
just them?
It's a good question. So human beings need to go in pods.
Yep.
Their bodies are
Are the
built to
pods.
it's basically like
They just
A
drop
pod that
from-
then
Okay.
like gains legs and
right.
lands.
Okay.
What's that? The Baumgartner guy that jumped from space, the free
Yeah,
fall
so-
from
Oh, yeah.
space. They did that.
Jeepers.
Something like that.
Yeah.
The chapel, Cetas's chapel in the desert, has just been mostly obliterated by the combined force of the All Reds outside. Our brave crew is about to engage in some degree of battle with these folks. So we are going to separate into two groups, the above ground and below ground group. By virtue of the combined rolls, I would say the above ground group should win slightly. Because I'm aggregating it as, all right, the above ground group initiative, below ground group initiative, but like this, right? You have to do it one or the other, or else time-wise it's going to be all wonky.
Okay.
So above ground group, the first person to go in combat, I'm just going to simply take your initiative and transpose it, is technically Asima.
Okay.
I know that it was technically your turn, Nora, but we have
I really don't care.
we
It's
have to reset.
so legit fine.
Fair enough.
Why would I be mad about that?
Asima.
How
You
far
win
away is
initiative
the ship?
downstairs.
The ship,
Actually, don't.
so if
Like
you were
in
looking,
location.
on a chapel, there was beautiful stained glass.
No.
But there is, like, think about if I had a weapon that was basically a sun ray that destroys matter, which is how their weapons work. So they're like a painter, they're like an erase tool in Photoshop. like literally like that.
Oh,
That's
Matter can't be created or destroyed, so it has to have gone somewhere.
It's
basically evaporated.
It's
So-
one with the atmosphere now.
So, okay, the erase tool in Photoshop with a little bit of ash. I just want to make sure they're not calling me for the food. Anyway, not the audience, you have to be sustained here.
We
All right.
eat.
Do we?
We don't just live in the box.
So out of a combined series of holes where one of the beautiful pieces of stained glass used to be on a hillside, I know you don't like yards, but I like yards, about 20, 30 yards away. So about less than 100 feet.
Yeah.
Right? There you go.
How many? Just
America!
I use meters.
Yeah. Well, I'll do. Hey, listen, I
Or
ran the
especially just
100
the
meters
other
back in the
feet.
day.
All right, go on.
Okay, that's about how far away it is. Less than 100 meters away.
Okay.
That's what
20,
the ship
30
is?
yards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And who? And are they
Only a handful went toward the ship. The rest are just like straight up.
Gunning for us.
They're not. What's interesting is like if we're using battlefield awareness, yes, they obliterated the chapel, but they know about because you're divine and they saw Cetas downstairs, which means they're not. You don't know if they're here to kill you or just take you, because obviously the experience that, in my opinion, that 11 was Leg saying, I am going into this with an open mind. And he took it. He took a whole hell of a lot to prove that his mind was open. More than any human could ever reasonably ever give. So when the wolf realizes this, he definitely has to send them in, just logically. But you don't know if they're here to kill. You might not be able to take that risk, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm here to kill.
You may have to. I'm just saying.
You get 9, you get 12.
So I'm
Then
above.
I got 12.
12. Okay, so it's you two, then me, then you.
No. We're doing above ground. Are you
Yeah.
guys upstairs too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The 4 of us are above ground. You 2 are downstairs.
Got it.
So it goes Asima, Arnold, me.
So what are you doing? That's the context.
Do I, and I'm assuming, or do I have the capability to like basically turn invisible at will? Or is that like once I become visible, that's it?
Right. So basically, think of your stealth talent,
Yep.
skill and talent,
Yep.
and it's auto-chipped in perpetuity. So
Okay.
you are almost certainly, if you roll good enough for stealth, you could go off there. Almost certainly go off there.
Or is it the
Yeah.
It's
plus
subterfuge plus stealth.
Yeah.
Yep.
plus the predator, whatever? What's stealth? Subterfuge?
There's subterfuge, which includes stealth, and then I also have a master of talent of blend in.
Nice.
So right. Yes.
So here's, I don't want to start fighting them necessarily because my primary goal is to get the entire crew to the Kaizen.
Yep.
So I can be a distraction, or I can fight if needed, but like.
Or you can get to the Kaizen and bring it over here.
If I go to the Kaizen, then they're like everyone else is losing the indestructible. The
You
one
could set up the
indestructible person.
protection for us to next turn. I'll get to the Kaizen.
Can
You see me disguised as an all red, just to give you a heads up.
Yeah. I'm not gonna.
No, I know.
Well, if
Yeah.
we're not gonna do anything, I would say you can fly. Get to the Kaizen, set it up, give us air coverage from there. Basically, be on Overwatch. There's 60 of these dudes, but there's no cover.
Right.
Around
There,
here.
but so question. I don't have any navigation on my.
You have the AI pilot. And you can
You'd
shoot.
have to turn the piloting over to the AI.
And they're probably like an
Which is
expert.
susceptible to be hacked by them.
Right.
But I think it's our best bet still because they
Distraction.
have
Distraction.
numbers and they can outfight us. Well, they can outfight the rest of us. You guys.
Or
can take-
we set up a protection field with Asima, and we run Marcus to the ship, who has the navigate,
Yeah.
to
Well,
get
so
the
actually,
4 of us to the church to
Okay.
pick the
Final
2 of
answer.
them.
No more things.
Get
can
to
I
the
set up
church
a
on
protection
time.
field?
Absolutely.
The,
You
the-
literally spent time to build that ability.
But like along the route to the.
Well, now you have the power of the firewall, so it might be significantly enhanced,
Okay, then
like
yeah.
everything else.
Great.
Yeet.
Then let's do that.
All right, so you're gonna yeet this fire, like your own protection barrier, like from you to the ship. Like what? Like
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Combat.
Use your
Art the
imagination.
Red
Combat
Sea.
weapon master.
Okay.
The DM's saying use your imagination and tell me anything.
Do you want me to re-roll this?
It's pretty cocked.
Is it a 1? Yeah.
It's a 2.
It's a 2,
All
but
right,
like
go ahead.
I
understand.
I will. Okay.
It should be flat.
Okay. That's a 1.
Wow.
he only made it worse.
Great. So that's a
So the dice
7 plus a 6, so 13.
So
Yeah.
the barrier that you created, you basically in your UI, you lift it as one barrier, and then you use the power. You're basically controlling potential.
Right.
So the way that energy and potential are manifesting themselves as a literal thing,
Yep.
and you separate them into 2,
Great.
and you lay them down like a straight path, and you basically, it's almost like.
She's peeling a.
So think of a red carpet,
Yeah.
but the walls, you
Yeah.
put 2 huge
Yeah,
walls
exactly.
in between you and the Kaizen.
Yeah. Done.
Okay, so it goes, like it just lays out like dust flies.
Do the all reds see that? Like, can they see it?
No, which is hilarious. I
It's
wanna
an
see what they do.
invisible field.
Great.
There's almost like a moment of tweak where
Yeah.
they're like, orders, s'il vous plaît,
Yeah.
right? Because they're looking at each other, but they know it's a barrier because
Yeah.
they don't have the tech to break your stealth, which you declared that it had.
Right.
Because it's visually and energy reflective.
Right.
So they see through it, but they know it's a barrier, and they have no
They're
idea
really
how to
confused.
penetrate. Right. So I think you just tweak, like they rolled a 7.
Yep.
Read my dice. They definitely, even if that's a 6, 13 is not going to break your barrier, which means they have to pause for a turn to get orders.
Great.
Really good move.
Fantastic.
Very good idea, Marcus.
It's not my turn.
It's my turn.
Arnold's next.
Oh, sorry, because you went up. Sorry about that. I didn't move it. Arnold?
Yeah, thanks, man.
My
Right,
sincere
Arnold.
apologies.
Guys
Start
in the
with-
corner and stealth.
He's got his knife
Killing.
out, just
My
like let's
sincere
go.
apologies.
Yeah.
Start walking to the ship, buddy.
You
please.
know that she's done that.
So if I go through there, is that, and I'm invisible when I'm in there, right?
Yeah, like if someone were in there with you, you would not be. But from
Yeah,
the
no,
outside, you
I
are
get that.
absolutely invisible.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to.
Run.
Saunter over.
You know what? No, I'm not. because I'm not fast, there's no reason for me to go in there except for like anything else. I'm gonna go in kind of the basement, and like these two are there. There's no one else that's good at combat in there. So I'm gonna kind of.
I'm a phenomenal. I have
Are
a
you-
mastery in combat.
Oh,
I
sorry, you
don't.
never do.
I'm deadly.
Regardless,
but
your
she does
choice. Just saying.
damage up the
So I'm
wazoo.
going to.
I'm just saying.
I'm fat. I'm perfect at blocking doors. So I'm gonna get at this choke point, in kind of like the basement stairs. Like that's.
You
what
can
I'm gonna do.
overwatch the door, literally or figuratively.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Perhaps
We
literally.
have to come back to pick them up anyway.
That-
so
yeah,
let's
they
pick
have
up Arnold.
They have to get to you, so there's nothing else for you to do. You
Yeah,
agree to end?
I
Okay.
like a knife is an arranged weapon apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Legs is. Are you upstairs?
It's
or
a one-time
downstairs?
ranged weapon.
Then what's your turn?
The
I-
handle is.
I mean, before we, made a path to the ship, which kind of negates what I was going to do, but I feel like Hank would still do it, to use the power of potential of bridging the gap to try and make them stand down, to try and persuade them that we now understand their intent. We understand that their goal is to go to Earth and spread the pollen, and that let us prove to you that we're on your side. Let us go.
Persuade.
I'm gonna. 5 and a 2. And a 5 and a 6.
Ooh.
11.
You always do that. You roll bad, and then
I
just roll a freaking 5, 6 right after. It's like, dude.
Hacker?
This is because you're
Neural
using the
network.
neural network to isolate their frequencies. So
Okay.
I will let you add half neural to this,
So it's a 6, so I'll add 3 to the 11 for 14.
and then the potential. Okay,
And potential
I
to
have
ship,
no
that's
idea.
at least like a 30.
might be. Okay, so here's what happens in real time. You see Asima like lay down a shield. You're like, all right, I want to make sure that our rear.
I'm gonna
is
totally ignore that.
No, well, no.
No. He just wants to make sure.
Here's
that
what it
everyone-
is. Like, I'm not running that way. I'm not running. It's not gonna happen.
Okay.
I'm not speedy enough.
So
get like a quarter of the way
you
there.
go, and as you see Asima do that, you can intuitively know by virtue of observing the All Reds' actions that they can't handle it. And the second that you see their signals go, almost like a unified stream, in your mind's eye, I mean, it's hard to describe this literally, but it's almost like you take their signals, you scoop it up, and then you have your signal, and then you just do this in your mind. Like you're intertwining with reality and the potential, and what you say, you try and you communicate that, and you're like, like we're here to do good. Like here is the dichotomy of choice. Here's what we represent.
Just ask my Goomba.
Right.
You sing
and
Imagine to
you,
them.
it's almost like you plant this idea.
You're a mental pop-up ad.
They weren't able
Never
to
go
stop
away.
you. Okay. So they rolled an unnat 12. And here's what I'm interpreting. This is very complicated, but here's what I'm interpreting. You forced them to think your way. But the wolf is very smart and very savvy, and he's very good at planning ahead. So he probably is like, if they ever are subverted, they automatically are going to go to self-destruct. So there's not a whole lot you can do about 60 remote self-destructs. So basically, there's going to be
we have a protective barrier.
that better extend to your ship, because 60 huge bombs are about to go off up there.
Why do they have to be that big though? Like that seems a little excessive.
Well,
Why can't their heads just blow up?
Because
I'm a self-destruct.
huh?
I'm a self-destruct.
Yeah. So there's
Oh, yeah.
probably
Initiating self-destruct.
yeah. I mean,
But I rolled a 14 plus the possibility.
you succeeded.
And the
The
wolf
problem
rolled
is
11.
you succeeded.
Yep. So that's the
Yeah.
wolf. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just basically
just had a backup
overfried
plan.
their circuit
Yeah.
boards, and they
Because
were
they,
just
like I
like,
said,
I
they rolled
don't
an
know how to
unnat
handle
12.
this.
So
what is
how
the
their
wolf?
reaction is to have a backup plan,
Yeah.
which was already there.
What's the backup plan?
They're
Explode.
self-destructing.
Self-destruct.
So
You saved them from having to face me, okay?
I mean,
Hey, now we can get to the ship without
that
60
The
Elrids.
ship is still there and
yeah.
functional.
if it
Well,
survives,
Yeah, because it's about to be blown up.
The
and
entire
we're
flight-
upstairs.
if
there's
you
going to
were-
be a huge. Like I can't.
Our ship's gonna be.
If your
Yeah.
idea
Like, you
of
have
your
to stop.
potential,
Something has to stop here.
if your ideal of a potential though was to make a red carpet to the ship,
Yeah.
It does not envelop the ship. It is a path highly protected to the ship.
So y'all need to
we've
get on
made
the
our
ship.
choices. We've done our actions. What happens?
yeah.
Well, that is what happens with your turn, Legs. And now
It's not their
Marcus.
turn yet, so they
Right, so
can't
they can't-
explode
Correct. Not
yet.
until and
Oh,
actually
okay.
the downstairs because they had to stop for a full
Yeah,
turn
that's
because
true.
they needed orders.
Yep.
Do they assault this? Where do they go?
So if we
Now
can
it's
get Marcus
Marcus.
to the ship.
Marcus now realizes that they're gonna blow it up. So
Sorry for your disguise idea. It was a good idea, but now there's none left.
I mean, this is the result of choice. So what are you gonna do, Marcus?
I have no idea.
Get to the ship. Get to the ship.
You're our navigator.
You're really fast and have rockets on your on your body. Get to the.
You may
On
base
your
it
I
pants.
don't
on
got
orbit.
time to get everyone on the ship before they blow up. I'm guessing. Can I?
Well,
Get
what
the
you
ship
could
out
do,
of the way.
if I were to suggest, in theory, you could seal the underground lair, or have somebody do it, get to the ship and get it enough in orbit where the bombs are gonna just destroy the area, land the ship, pick them up.
What's the likelihood of that succeeding compared to me trying to disable their self-destruct sequence using my
billion
disguise and
times
ability to upload myself
Oh.
and disguise myself as the wolf or whatever?
I would say that's about the
Gi-
same.
Given my
Really?
given I haven't chosen my
Intent.
intent.
You have to know to choose your intent.
I-
No one has said it out loud yet, so far as I know. You're getting the readouts, so I would say Marcus can adapt very well to his circumstances. So I can say that you have figured out that you need to do that, but I would say that you haven't yet done it.
Well, he's always known his intent
What is it?
since he can remember. To be the very best at what he does and to have a fitting end to his very prolonged life,
Fitting end.
which in his mind probably would be
Your greatest desire is to have a fitting end to your life. That's fine.
A fitting end meaning, whether that's saving the world on Mars or not. I mean,
Or leading the
Probably
next
is.
great space expedition.
Or a horrific accident.
I would
involving a
say-
human puzzle.
he's lived a very
Instead-
long life, and
I
he's
get it,
now
I get
he's experienced a lot of disturbed memories. He's getting ready to die. He knows that soon his time will be up, and he's always strived to be the greatest in his field. He's always been the hardest worker he can possibly be. So to have an honorable, fitting end while being the GOAT, basically, and to make shit happen. That's basically his
So I'm going to
intent.
interpret that
Yeah.
as the Firewall will. In contrast to Asima, who she wants to preserve her life, to act as the protector for others. What you want is to choose the manner of your death. So because you are a machine, I will let you be able to do what CETOS does, but on a much grander scale. Move your consciousness and the soul of your android and mechanical being outside of your physical body, which means you can control when and if you die, because you are no longer rooted to a body. So your ability is traversing elsewhere.
ghost.
So you have almost a freedom of literal physical form. You can mesh yourself with thought and idea better than anybody.
You're now ghost.
That's really cool.
I'm
That's
going
a good
ghost.
idea.
So
Transfer
Keenan
to the
did-
ship.
Oh my god.
You,
Your day.
he could be in the
But
ship
yeah,
like
Ian.
this.
Yeah, yeet
As-
your soul
you have
right
to figure
into
out
the
what to do
Kaizen.
next. That's very intense.
Bring the ship to us before the bombs go off.
Yeah, go to the ship.
Be the ship.
Be the ship.
You could.
Can I be the wolf?
Eh.
I think the All Reds are already programmed to self-destruct
Yeah, and I
at
can
this
turn
point.
off the wolf easily.
Stay the ship.
You'd have to know
I'll
where
let
he
you
is.
roll.
though.
I'll let you
Extent
roll
of-
against him to see if you can do what you did to him to see. Basically,
I
do
wanna
to him
do-
what he did to CETOS.
What he did to him.
He'd have to do that willingly because he did it willingly. But he basically.
I'm going.
I'll let you roll against him 2d6 straight up
Is this
to do to him.
persuade, negotiate?
No, straight up, because this is using the firewall, and he's better at it than you, so he'll get a bonus. But
Shit.
I'll negate his bonus. Basically, what he did to CETOS, you're trying to do with him. Take him over, whether it's permanently or temporarily, by accessing how he interacts
His
with the
intent.
firewall.
And just to be clear, if this fails, the ship is gone, right?
Ship's gone and we all died.
It depends on the result.
Because we also, Nora and I have not gone yet, and we go before
The
they
ship
go.
can be remote. There's a lot of things that we can do with the ship. I mean, this is an interesting idea.
I could simply just tell the
As
ship
long
to
as
leave
one of you-
orbit if I wanted to, like that.
I would.
don't
Let's
have to do
not
shit.
worry about the ship.
It's a half a
because
second
the
command,
way that
literally a millisecond. If what he's saying is true, I can communicate through artificial intelligence. I could within a millisecond command
the
ship
ship
to orbit.
is
Not worried about that.
not immaterial, but compared to what he's trying to do, there are other methodologies for making the ship do what you want it to do. However, you will not be able to deactivate the bombs if you the all reds if you fail. If you succeed, you very well may, and that's up to you.
Okay.
So, shall we?
6.
7.
Oh! I saw the 2 6s on the sides of the dice, not the tops, but on the sides. So I was like, sweet, and then no.
But he chipped it.
So
That was to get
That
rid
was
of the
to-
items bonus.
you
But I think his justification +2.
hop on the lily pads of potential and find yourself standing inside the heart of the Colossus where James and the wolf are present. The wolf turns to you and he says, I see you found the gift of our planet. And that means that you would be ready to receive the gift that I gave legs.
Am I in a body over there?
No, you are consciousness that you can manifest a presence that can be felt through the firewall. And
Astral
because the
projection.
wolf is highly adept at using it at this point.
What's that presence capable of doing?
Just existing, right?
It is capable of using some degree of the firewall's potential, but because you're already using that potential,
You said I could end my life at any point. Could I
Or stop
self-destruct right there and then and kill them both?
Probably not, because you're not destructing anything. There's nothing that's blowing up. It's not like you're blowing up a ship.
Okay. Alright.
So I would say that the wolf won't intentionally end it, but he says he'll give you the same gift that he gave legs, which is basically seeing his side of things. You basically walk a mile in my shoes, and you tell me that I'm wrong.
I would agree to it if you do the same with me. You walk a mile in my shoes.
The devil's bargain.
It's like 500 miles and 500 miles.
Done. Who first?
Um,
Shall we roll to see who goes first?
Yeah, same deal. 2d6.
This time it's going to be a 7 and a 6.
You go first. I rolled a 3.
Oh wow.
Ah!
No.
You're right,
I see
Jared.
it.
So you don't. If I rolled higher than you, right?
I rolled a 3.
I rolled a 4, so that means the wolf's going to experience what I want him to
Yeah.
experience first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit. All right.
Talking my
So what is
I'm
the
going to-
ethos of what you want him to experience?
golden age of mankind.
It's gotta be something.
No.
You're a soldier, right?
I was a lot of things. Yeah. it's
Did
definitely
you
one of
ever give a kid a chocolate bar?
them. I did.
There you go.
Over in China.
There you go.
Says the actual soldier.
But it's ethos. It's not.
Yeah, I
it's
kept
not
my
just
candy.
one. It's a culmination. I
But
think
it can be imagery. It can be
Terrible
based
person.
off an image that metaphorically is extrapolated through space and time and potential to mean something grander. Because you know what he's about to give you, but what you're
Doesn't
trying
know.
to do is find a
Do you have children, Marcus?
emotional counterpart.
He's going to show you the greatest atrocities that he's ever seen. Show him the greatest good that you have ever seen.
Yeah,
Not that he's
I don't
ever
wanna
seen.
fight
He's showing
fire with
the greatest
fire.
message that
Show him the Lord of the
humanity
Rings
has ever
trilogy.
done.
Do we know who is
Yeah.
responsible for? Does this whole group or anyone know who is responsible for me trying to basically blow up Washington D.C.?
Yeah.
The evidence suggests
Adune.
that Adune Industries literally built you to carry out that purpose, but you
But what entity
serendipity.
within that what you do?
We don't
was
know
it
that.
Dune, it was maybe 1 or 2 people. Was
That's
it,
unknown.
we don't
That's
know
part
yet.
of what this. Again, we
was it
still
the
haven't
wolf?
unraveled that yet.
Like was it the wolf?
Definitely not. He is an innocent bystander. His family and everything he knew is obliterated by those decisions. And even still, he's still trying to end suffering, even though he has suffered among the greatest.
Okay. I will show him the people that I have treated as a psychologist within after being involved in special forces during the war. Some of the people who suffered the most, yet I was able to treat, and they were able to ultimately get over the awful atrocities that they've witnessed and experienced and become wonderful people.
PTSD recovery versus the recovery of, your nation was destroyed by the Hydra virus.
So
It can
basically
get
show
better.
them like all my life memories and the 80 plus years of my life, and it's the truth.
Yep.
Sharing with them basically the truth
I understand.
of how even from the worst of treatment, people can still rise and become peaceable and wonderful.
Have you ever seen a picture of a World War I no man's land? And it's fast forward to eventually show trees and villages and people starting to live there. So maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Show him what the possibility could be of Earth and Mars working together.
He doesn't know what that looks like.
So we can't influence what Marcus said.
Yeah, I'm
So
just-
even
I'm
though what
just
you're
trying to
saying
pinpoint.
is literal, the firewall interprets it because you can't control its potential.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
we
it's
understand
the
that.
ethos, right? It's more the general. Do I have to roll something, or did he roll something against him for the mind control shit? Or
So, my interpretation is that Legs was merely able to sever what was being forced upon him whilst experiencing it, but he just straight up agreed to your terms, which means he's going to take it. And his conviction is pure and absolute. And you can see that in his eyes, that no matter what image, experience, or any even divine act could not dissuade this person from wanting to remove suffering. And yes, that does mean a loss of free will, but it's just not going to happen.
the memories I sent to him, are any of them have to do with people getting their free will taken away and suffering as a result?
Communism.
Because that's exactly probably what I've witnessed in a lot.
Isaiah, I mean, listen.
I'm just going. That's
I would say that what you sent him was an extremely complex series of stories that are all organically designed to argue against what he's doing.
Okay. And
Beautiful, powerful, elegant stories that are rich in spirituality and the fundamentals of human psychology, and you designed keys to unlock his armor of conviction.
Now,
and failed.
I'm assuming I can't, while doing that, implant a virus into his being.
No.
Okay.
No, this is serious stuff.
By doing that,
And
can we
so
put a second bomb on the
he
moon?
Should have showed him pictures
very
of dogs.
very similar to Legs. You unfortunately are forced to undergo the trauma of humanity and nature to feel what we can remove from reality. The sum total and absolute weight of that horror and perpetuity being removed from existence, that weight is the unstoppable force and the immovable object. And your consciousness, your android consciousness, is just straight up forced to take it.
So
And it
I'm
is
assuming I'm going to be re-experiencing a lot of the shit I saw.
times a billion, a literal billion. The only way you can process that is by virtue of the limitless potential that's flowing through you, processing it on your behalf, but process it you do. And you take it, come back into reality.
Do I have to roll? Like he did or no?
Well, the way that I see it is that his role to resist forces you to take it. because you don't have a nervous system, nothing is really going to, I guess, yeah, I mean, you probably should roll because you have circuits. I mean, you have very complex components that might be in trouble. But I don't think, because basically...
This is going to affect me, though, in a negative
yes.
way.
Well, it will affect you. Negative is relative. So the reason why legs couldn't necessarily stop it is because he hadn't otherwise interacted with the firewall. You choose the manner of your death. So even if you were hurt, you could repair it because you have firewall abilities. So I would say you don't have to roll. You just have to straight up take it.
Okay.
And you come back into reality, and you are going to have to be honest with me on how you feel Marcus has changed by that experience. But any reasonable person, it should be fairly profound.
Yeah, I'd say he's more, certainly more angry, more hateful, more vengeful, has maybe less control, lack of control.
So what are you doing about the all reds in the ship? In the flickering moment of sanity, what are you going to do about that, if anything?
I thought you said I don't have sanity.
You do have sanity.
I do? Okay.
But it's flickering.
Okay.
You have sanity, but free will.
Yeah, you're not dead. You're
still Marcus, you're just changed in some way.
Okay.
So what does Marcus do now?
Well, that's a great question. I suppose I would command the ship to take off to get to a safe point, because the bombs are about to explode, and I would try to stop the All-Reds from self-destructing.
You can choose one. And the all reds are much more difficult than the ship.
Okay, then the ship.
Okay. So, similar to what happened with legs, although without the benefit of having a pocket healer behind you, you pass out unconscious. Before you do, you levitate the ship. You basically remote pilot it into the upper atmosphere, fall unconscious. Is anyone standing right near the entrance to where the chapel meets?
I'm like below.
No, he's like a whole hallway away.
Yeah.
Well, the shield in between me and...
I would have walked forward to like command them to stand down, so probably I'd be closest.
Are you up above though?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember he already went.
Yeah, it's just the two of them.
Physically,
weren't you going to the ship though?
I was standing basically if the church were still up, I would have been standing in the doorway of the church and the outside to be like, hey, stand
in her
down.
shields?
Probably just behind her shields.
Okay.
Not outside, but in the threshold of the church.
So here's what's going to have to happen just by virtue. However, because I said it was about 10 seconds, I'll give you guys a very short turn. Tell me what your actions would have been underground, because unfortunately this is being forced upon your turn. So Nora, Saoirse, I need to know because it's about to affect you.
I would be.
You said you were
downstairs.
waking 13.
Correct.
Nora?
I think I'm just gonna recon it to I'm gonna help her.
I was gonna say, because you were gonna build
Then
a
I
bomb.
will let you,
don't
which
need
is
a
smart,
bomb.
do a combined roll to see what you can do in a very short period of time.
Yeet. What kind of roll?
Science to help, but also healing just in case there are any issues.
You can make him better than he once was.
Auto crit to heal.
Brother might be eviscerated.
Auto crit heal.
My intention.
You're right.
Hell yeah.
You've made him so much better.
7 in science.
Yeah.
On its own. Do I
Better than
add
24.
anything, or I think she critical. I think I'm good.
All right.
I don't know. I'm
Do you
here
want
for
it to be
labor.
auto critical or like
So,
a chip? Critical?
Ironically, 13 wakes up to a huge bomb. Kind of tragic. in a way.
Baby. I'm so sorry.
So
We're
you,
not
you
all
get
that
him,
evil.
You get him awake, and you can hear like the chaos up above. The lasers, and he's like basically like, why? Like why was I saved?
So I'm gonna
12 is in trouble.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna look at him and be like, this is why you were created. You have to stop this bomb. Do something. That's it.
And which is hilarious because right then the bombs go off, which means you just said he failed the reason why he's alive, which is classic.
Different bomb.
Different bomb.
Not that one.
No.
Actually,
that's great.
Not that one.
Yes.
All of the all-reds who are surrounding it detonate, and a massive halo of extraordinarily vibrant almost ivory colored light blows up in every direction. Every piece of matter that's above ground is utterly eviscerated. The only reason why you survive, legs, is the shields, which get knocked out, but they do not affect you. And the only reason why Asima isn't dead is because she's literally indestructible. So basically the explosion passes through your predator suit and physical being, and time slows to where you're constantly replacing each atomic particle in your body in real time that is working. And that's how your auto healing ability. So it's like in real time, you know, you're like stitching together the fabric of your being, and then it passes through you. So you experience a lot of time very quickly.
Arnold's standing in the stairwell like, oh, that's bright.
And
I'm glad the shockwave didn't pulp me.
right, and Arnold, or excuse me, Marcus falls backwards, and the explosion upwards like destroys everything and comes inside the hallway. So Marcus, you're going to take a whole bunch of damage because it's going to come and flow through your being when you're unconscious. So you can't necessarily stop that. But again, it's your physical being. You still wouldn't die. And then actually the funny thing for you, Arnold, is you can see almost like this wall of flame coming toward you, but then it starts to peter out, like almost comedically, like stops like right near your face. You're like
my
oh,
mustache
God.
is a
yeah.
little...
Yeah, exactly. You have like little embers like stopped.
Half
like
of your mustache burns off, but the other half is
Same
still
goes.
there.
right.
And the smoke comes out.
So
I should go check on them.
right. So
You're the
combat is going to end.
Cool.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
sorry.
that's good.
Matt, can I go?
I
check?
didn't foresee any of that happening whatsoever. That was
Cool.
effing crazy.
Can I go check on Marcus?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I'm in the ship, buddy.
I'm smacking him. I'm smacking him. Captain, you're making fax machine noises.
Marcus's body is very unconscious, but you sense a.
But he's not dead. Do
If
robots have a
he hadn't
pulse?
otherwise interacted with the firewall, he absolutely would be very dead.
Right.
However, there's a vibrancy of being inside of it. It's just inert. The body is inert, but it's almost like you can sense that somehow.
Can I plug my neck brace into him to power?
God,
'cause-
that's not what it is.
First of all, technically yes.
Okay.
Second of
You
all,
just like fall. You're just unconscious.
No,
too.
here's the thing.
We're both just unconscious.
It's just funny because no one knows
cut
about
it.
my psycho ability now to just like walk up to people and be like, live.
Hear me out on this though, because like, okay, which one of us is more useful in an emergency situation?
Hey,
the
what's
robot
yours, though?
cyborg of death and destruction,
I am the ship
or
right
the
now.
fat guy?
I am
But he
the
doesn't
ship.
know that.
I don't know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So
you don't
I'm
know
gonna,
what yours is either.
What's mine? What do you mean? What?
You haven't. Yeah, he has. You haven't
Potential.
done it yet.
yourself.
No one's told you about intent.
Yeah, you have
You haven't
no
told me.
idea.
All
You
right,
haven't told me that that's what you wish to
haven't
do. You
had
just said
it-
I want to plug my neck brace in.
Yeah, like that's not how. I haven't really plugged into the network yet of that, so I'm just plugging into that guy. That has
Oh,
nothing to
okay.
do
That's
with
how you're doing it by accident.
No, I'm just
That's
trying-
adorable. I love that. Let's do that.
No.
Yeah,
that
he's just
has-
trying to
I gotta
fix
buy-
Okay,
everything.
let me clear that up.
Wanna
That
help
was
you
not my
fat
intent
more.
at all.
My intent.
But guess what?
Okay,
That's the
cool.
nature of stories, and you're about to get sucked in.
I'm about
deep.
to be natured of
Actually,
stories.
that's really cool. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
So your intent at the moment, not what we're
Is to
gonna
never
ultimately
be
talk
fat
about,
again.
is
when
I
you
want to make sure that
Fat
Marcus
shaming.
is okay.
Sorry.
And I am
Not
going
fat,
to
sorry.
use what life force I have to give to him, like the energy that I have. So basically, you know,
Are you
you're-
gonna ask me my greatest wish?
I am, but
Okay.
here's what's going to happen. You plug yourself into Marcus
Mm-hmm.
and find your consciousness born into a nightmarish hellscape of the experiences that Marcus was undergoing.
So my
However,
childhood.
Jesus. Well, no, you didn't live through the worst of the fallout. I think you were born on
Not
the
the
tail
worst
end,
of,
right?
but
Kind of.
near the tail
It was
end.
60 years, right?
So let's see.
And I'm like 60 years old.
You're
so-
60?
Yeah.
Really? You're on that side of things? All right.
Well, the bombs dropped in '58, and it's 2000.
Just touch me.
2120.
I didn't come here to do math. I came here to RP.
Okay.
No, you definitely were.
so-
What the hell, man. Yeah.
Regardless of what you experience, because of the taste that Arnold got before, you realize where you are. So basically, you're going to find yourself melding, but you're actually doing it somewhat virtually at first because you accidentally connected yourself to what's going on in Marcus's brain. So what is your intent?
Love you.
Because it's going to change how, not necessarily your power per se, but how it comes about.
How you react.
So what is Arnold's
Harness
greatest
nuclear
desire,
fire.
greatest
Oh.
wish? And it has to be honest.
Okay, so what is Arnold's greatest wish?
Greatest
Yeah.
desire.
In this scenario or just in general?
Like
in
his
his life.
heart of hearts.
Oh, in his life?
And yet, like, just be real. Like, no BS. Like, what is...
No, I get
yeah.
you.
The
The
best
greatest
life
desire was to
letter.
just make love to Marcus. Wirelessly.
Sorry.
To have died with his wife.
Oh no.
To have died with his wife?
Oh no.
Just die. That's not good.
How long has your wife been dead?
20 years.
Oh.
He just drops dead.
That was the woman on the beach.
Franklin Delano Romanowski dropped
Okay,
dead.
this is a little weird, but I'm going to tell you what happens.
Okay, yeah. Because I don't...
That's the truth. I like that that's the answer, because who saw that coming?
So, you come, you are, you're dancing with your wife
He becomes a
on
specter
the
of death.
beach of your mind's eye.
I was skinny
And
then.
Those moments of bliss are something that you haven't felt for a long time. And you realize that this is really what you want. When you come back to reality, you are on the ground and Marcus's body, but not mine, has been remade in the image of your wife, who is functionally alive. So you bring your wife's body and experiences back to life, but depending on how you
took my body, bro.
You
Holy
just
shit.
said I want to sleep with
depending on how you
Marcus as
think
my
about
intent,
it,
so
it might not contain her soul. That's up to you because you're not God, but
Not
you have
yet.
godlike abilities. So that is what you're staring at.
That's very, very invasive to my body, okay?
Okay,
he can transmute.
So I've
But
made,
you
I,
have to be
Not
honest, and he was
everybody.
honest, and that's what happened.
I've made you a sex doll.
Oh my god, I can't believe you made him into your dead wife!
Wait, so I no longer exist in that body.
You can pretty much manifest corporeal beings.
So
You can create
my
beings.
original.
So I'm
You
on
can
the
create that, then create
I'm
it again.
on the ground, like
Looking at your wife.
looking at her,
Yep.
and she looks as beautiful as the day I met her.
Oh.
There's a
But
few-
she's in a predator suit?
yeah.
No, she's her body.
Oh.
None of what
She's
you
in
had
a
exists.
gorgeous sundress.
Okay, let me finish. She's in
She's
this
naked.
blue. She's in this blue like beach dress kind of deal, and she's got very like black hair but a few streaks of gray, and like the one thought in like Arnold's thought like I must look so old to her.
Well, actually, you look 30 years younger.
Yeah. We're all just starting to use it. So she's going to look at you. I don't know if she has like a name for you, but she either say Arnold or whatever like pet name she has for
Arnie,
you.
yeah.
Booby.
No.
Like,
No.
How did she die?
Knife fighting.
There was a storm.
Storm.
We were on vacation. We were out in a boat, and storm. It was kind of a mundane thing. It wasn't even a bad storm. It was just an accidental. The buoy of the sailboat hit her in the head and killed her.
Why weren't we on a boat? Where am I?
I don't know how to respond to that.
Okay.
And that's me, Chris.
Arnold
That's
doesn't
her.
respond. He just starts crying.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Then
Yeah.
I think that's totally
Yeah.
fair. Your turn is going to have to end, which
That's
is
pretty fair.
such a fascinating power. Didn't see that coming.
Lines up with your.
So
Oh, Tane, here.
So here's what we don't have a lot of like time in the story. So with your permission, I think we can all reasonably agree that we know that we have to get to the ship. I think we can agree on that. So I think, and I think Saoirse, you're gonna be able to get 13, help reassure him. Marcus,
We'll see.
let's just say that you can remake your body on the ship, because I think that's fair. You can remake your body pretty much anywhere mostly. You're still like tinkering with that idea because that's a little overpowered, but don't worry about it. I would say that we'll figure out what that looks like, but we'll say that your body is going to be on the ship.
Could we
And so-
say that his body, you just envelop a predator suit and you are the predator suit?
So are you saying I am the predator?
You are the predator.
Oh no, we've been
I'm gonna be
waiting
honest, man, that's
7
really
episodes
cool.
to hear that.
And
So-
we are the aliens.
So
Weird.
Saoirse limps out with 13.
Right.
Nora, you're helping like
I would
guide
say
him,
13
like,
is
taking
probably
his first
carrying
steps.
me.
You come across Arnold
Which is
and a
gross.
woman you've never seen before.
stranger.
But given what
In a
you've
blue
all,
sundress.
even given what you've all gone through, you're not asking a lot of questions right now. So Arnold is crying. Arnold never cries. This woman is like, where the heck am I?
Yes, Tine, she's a total
Legs,
stranger in no
you're
shoes and a beach
standing,
dress.
And it's like you saw all of that. So the retinas in the back of your eyes are probably like you're just like adjusting to the daylight. Asima's like probably like, are you all right? Marcus is nowhere to be seen, but the ship is landing.
I'm like,
Which,
I am
thank
the ship.
God,
I'm landing
dude.
the ship.
Right.
I say greetings to the loudspeaker.
Yeah. Marcus
Do
is
not
the,
be afraid.
Marcus is the ship.
Yeah.
Greetings.
We just act this story so hard.
We're gonna get on. We're gonna get on the ship. But the last thing that we'll do at the end of this episode, as you know, we're kind of crawling our way onto the ship, is through. In your case, Nora, because you haven't interacted, it would come via your neural network.
I was gonna
connection.
say, I hope I get powers.
Yeah, but yours is gonna come
Everybody
next
else got
episode.
cool
Yours
stuff.
is gonna come next episode, so you actually have the benefit of thinking through that. Lucky you.
I like that I was already ready though.
Everyone else has already done it, right?
Yeah.
What?
I have 10. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yours and Arnold's are kind of the same. I want to die.
What we're gonna say
No,
is
that one.
everyone
That one.
through the firewall, except you via the network, get the
Lived a long
image of. It's almost like you zoom in. You have the pyramid, and at the center of the pyramid, near the iris, you see Tane. But there's something very different about him.
He's Negatane.
I
He-
called that.
He
She called it.
you know for a fact that he's been blossomed. So he
But he didn't need it. Of all
Yeah.
the
He was
people,
so
he probably
chill.
didn't need it.
he
He's
has
immune to the blossoming.
well,
That's his power.
I haven't rolled to see what degree, but he's different. And he says, basically, please come help me. Like, you know, I need it. But as your ship, like, you know, like
tells me
he's
that?
like
Who tells
all
that?
of you. He's like, please save me, because you can tell almost like behind his eyes there's something weird going on. And
So it's
then
like a vision we all see or something?
an experience,
Okay.
yeah, vision, fair enough. But you feel it too. Like you feel his anxiety. But you know, like he is, yeah, exactly. But he's been blossomed. And the last thing that I'm gonna say because I think before I saw this battle going way differently, this is gonna be at like the end of the battle where like you legitimately needed a pilot because they had earned their way.
Pilot.
But where's my girl?
Where's
Is-
our girl?
Is like walking over the hill, really like slumped and dehydrated, is the greatest of all time.
Yes.
Rana El
Yes.
Masri, broken down, like looking at the ship, and then you guys all like hear Tane, and you see Rana, who's been walking in the desert for days.
I
like,
run to her.
The greatest of
Full
all time.
run. She's
It's
the
like, you know,
only
like,
person I like.
Like I hope, basically, like I hope you need a pilot.
She communicates that telepathically too?
No, like
She's
but, like,
closer to us.
Like
She's
at some point, she's gonna like when you get close. Like I hope you need
We
a
pick her
pilot
up with
and
the
like
ship.
collapse like a total gangster. You know
Oh
what I
my
mean?
God.
Like, that whole
We're
night.
getting
Is
on the
she-
ship and we
Insta
see
heal,
her come over
insta
the.
heal, insta hydrate, insta hydrate.
All right.
Where's the
Make her my
helmet?
wife.
No, the helmet, because of the illustration
Everyone
for the
translates
website,
it to
the
Arnold's
helmet
wife.
got left behind, so she doesn't have her helmet.
I'll make her a new one.
Yes, you can.